Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Centralist. I hope everyone's having a great evening, great morning, great afternoon, wherever you might be on our planet. I know this show's a mostly American audience, but we do have quite a few listeners from around the world. I know it goes over to 120, 130 countries. Doesn't reach as far as UFO Undercover does. UFO Undercover, I'm pretty sure, goes to every country now in the world. I know we have listeners all over the weird places, but it's been interesting. So Kamila Harris makes history today by being the first woman president. I think that's a ripoff to women. I got to be honest about that. She served for what, 4 hours as president? Come on. That's just a ripoff. That's something the liberals want to say. Oh, we had the first female president. No, you didn't actually. So you want to brag about the woman who has the lowest approval rating of any vice president in the history of the United States? Now it's down to 26%. Joe Biden's, depending on what poll, between 32 and 36%. It's sad, guys. I don't even know what to tell you about their regime or the particular party, right? There's all kind of infighting in the party, And I was thinking today when I was listening to the House vote on this new $2 trillion bill, I got to thinking about it. So it was 220 to 213. That's how close the vote was. That shouldn't be allowed. There should be a margin that they have to carry. 15% over, 25% over. So maybe it should be 250 should be the minimum number you have to have in the House. I mean, in the House, and maybe they should go back to 60 on everything in the Senate because that way, 61 actually in the Senate. That way, everything is truly bipartisan. Nothing gets done unless it's bipartisan, and we need that because, frankly, when both parties get in control for too long. So Barack Obama came in, he got Obamacare, which still a day here we are, what, 12, 16 years later, and it's still a disaster. It's still just, it doesn't really help anybody in the middle class up, and it's just for anybody else, it's just, you know, death care basically. I mean, it's $6,000 deductible for people paying that $89 policy, that $100 policy. They have a $6,000 or $7,000 deductible. It does them no good. It's emergency care. It's like if you go to the hospital, or that's what it's for. It's not really for anything else. And that's not what people in those wage levels need. They need real health care. I mean, that's what they need. They need something that carries it out. But that's not what we're here to talk about tonight. Obamacare is still funny to me, the way it all went down, and how many thousands of pages it was, and no one ever actually read the thing front to back. I mean, when I say that, I mean no congressperson read it front to back, none of them. And it's ridiculous. So they should have a limit on how many pages a bill should be. 500, 1,000, 1,500. It really should be a limit to how far they should be allowed to do this. I mean, come on. How long would it take the average person to read a 5,000 page? And then you got to understand it. So you have to go back and forward, go back and forward, go back and forward. I mean, you really got to understand what you're reading. You're going to be looking up stuff and trying to get a better understanding of stuff and seeing what rules and laws concern the stuff. It would have took a decade to get Obamacare passed at that rate. Oh no, what was Nancy saying? Oh, pass it and we'll read it later. What? Really? I mean, what moron actually says that? But anyway, I mean, since then she said a lot more moronic stuff. So at this moment, we do know she is an idiot. Um, but it's no better on the other side. I mean, I'm picking on the Dems right now, but it's no better on the other side. Um, they got just as many stupidity. We need bipartisan government, real bipartisan. Hey, how you doing? We really do need bipartisan government. I have no idea why this is such a hard thing, but I will say this. I am glad to see that the liberals did back themselves into a hole. So it's funny to me that we heard for decades, oh, people can't get voter IDs. That's illegal. You should make them need an ID. So you can't get a COVID card without an ID, right? You can't get a COVID shot without an ID. So everybody's got to have a COVID shot. What does that mean? Everybody's got to have an ID. So voter ID is not an argument anymore. Everybody's got to have an ID just to have a COVID card. So the liberals took their own argument away from themselves. Oh, they can't get to this. No, they have to have an ID to go get that COVID shot. They have to have an ID to go get that Medicaid and Medicare too. They have to have an ID to get that Social Security. They have to get that. They have to have an ID to get that disability, and they have to have an ID to get a bank account to put it in. So at this point, I don't know why we're even arguing about voter ID, especially when you see the polls. So polling, and this is what's weird about this poll. So if you poll all liberals, just nobody but liberals, they poll 81% for the ID because they think the Republicans cheat. Republicans, it's 89% because they think the Republicans cheat. Independence is almost 90% because they think everybody cheats. Um, it's kind of stupid where we are now. I mean, at this point, there shouldn't be an argument anymore. It should just be a voter ID. And I got to say, I think there should be very limited mail-in ballots. I'm just, it's too easy to cheat with mail-in ballots. With nobody checking them, it's just too easy to cheat. Now, if they have to have, if it's mail-in ID, if it's a mail-in voter, if it's a voter, it's a vote mailed in. They're saying they need a copy of their ID. See, I can live with that because then they can scan it into the computer. If it pops up anywhere else, it'll get disqualified. Actually, I think they're going to disqualify both votes, or how many of they are. There have been several people. Sorry, guys, it's Thursday. There have been several people caught all over the United States and doing multiple votes. For some reason in the Northeast, it's really, 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 really easy to do it. One Pittsburgh woman was on TV talking about she voted in 6 states and she voted 6 times in each state. And nobody even questioned her one time. And she said if she wasn't tired, she probably got another 3 states in. I was like, come on. How can it happen? Chicago almost every year has more votes than it has citizens because a bunch of dead people vote. Yeah, I don't know how them dead people get out the ground, crawl around. I could understand maybe if it was on Halloween, maybe because it's All Souls Day. Maybe that's why. Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah. See, the dead walks around, they go vote, and they go back to sleep for a year. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just, when you hear things like this, you got to go, what? And now they want to do digital voting machines. No more click voting. Yeah, just the digital works. A flip of a switch can change that. A touch of a keyboard can change that. I'm not really for it. I got to say, guys, I'm not a big fan of. Oh wait, that just seen Jay pop in. Let me grab him right quick. Bloop. Oh, there he is. Let me take us and put us in stereo. There we go.
How's it going?
Oh, pretty good, man. I was just going over some of how the liberals backed themselves in a corner with the voter ID thing because everybody's got to have an ID to get a COVID card.
You got to get an ID to buy cigarettes or beer.
Yeah, but
there's a difference. I don't know.
I know, but it's always been for them. Oh, poor people, colored people can't go get. Which every one of my black friends get extremely offended every time they hear that. What do you think? They think we're ignorant. We can't go get an ID. It's just kind of funny to me every time I hear the liberals say that because they don't have any big fans about it. Nobody's really fanning off on it. They're just kind of like, well, I'm not sure how that's going to play out. So now they don't have the excuse anymore. If you can't even go anyplace if you don't have your COVID card, which means you had to have an ID to get it. So since almost when you do all 3 of the major parties, it comes out to about 85% of America's ID.
Yeah, and where are you? How much are you going to pay for an ID?
$10-$20 depending on where you are, maybe 30. But what bothers me about this, I got on one of my liberal friends about it one day. He's telling me, you don't understand. I said, yes, I do. I said, you will drive into a city, put people in a bus, and drive them to go vote. But what you're telling me is you won't do the same thing so they could go get legal IDs. Is that what you're telling me? He said, no, you don't understand. I said, yeah, I do. Go ahead.
But how much are they going to pay for an ID? In most states, no more than $25, and that ID either has no expiration date or expires in 10 years.
Well, a lot of states,
tell me over 10 years, someone can't save up $25 every 10 years to buy a fresh ID.
Well, a lot of states, if you're over 58 or over 63, you don't have to pay for them. They give them to you.
Right, yeah.
They also give you like hunting licenses for life at that point. So, a lot of states do. So, I mean, it's not really an excuse anymore. I'm tired of hearing that excuse. I do think, and I got to say this again, I do think women got ripped off today. I'm sorry, ladies, but unless you're a big Kamila Harris fan, I think you got ripped off. I mean, the first woman president, really? You can't even say that. You can say, oh, well, she was the first woman to ever hold the office. She didn't hold the office. 4 hours is not holding the office. 4 hours is like holding the door open, watching him have surgery. I'm severely disappointed about that. What was it? Reuters, one of them was taking odds on if he was going to survive. And then they were taking odds on how long since he had it. Maybe he had something really wrong. How long is he going to survive? I'm like, I don't care. As long as he makes it till 2024, I'm good. I just, Camilla's like, she like stares at herself in the mirror and she's like, duh. She's just like, duh. I'm so pretty.
And how close is he to stepping into the grave anyway? I mean, money keeps you alive, regardless. So
What is he, 79? So, I know you just had a birthday. I can't remember if it was 78 or 79, but he's up there.
Yeah,
Which,
he
but
is.
the problem is I've seen people his age that are way more coherent than he is. He's just like,
Bill Shatner.
yeah.
Bill
Oh,
was
yeah,
Bill
yeah,
Shatner,
when he was in
83. He went in
space.
outer space.
I was like, shh, don't say that he's a Canadian. The girls give me shit because he's Canadian. He's an American hero, but he's Canadian. We love you Canadians, all you Canadians. We love all Canadians. Yes, well, all but one Canadian we love. We're not big fans of Mr. Pink Shorts, but other than that, we love all Canadians. Yeah, especially the ones bearing gifts. We love them even more. Wink, wink. Is that a hint to anybody listening? You know, I just thought it was kind of a rip off for women, because for whoever the first woman who serves and wins the office, it's going to be kind of shitty because then she's going to be the second woman to be, that's bullshit. Oh, she'll be the first who won it. Bullshit. Still, she won't be the first woman to serve. I don't know. Maybe if she drops dead, then it'll be different. But I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. That Camilla scares me. She might go sell us off to China. China might say, "Hey, look, we'll set you up for life. Just sign these papers, and when you step down, we'll own the United States." Yeah, she just makes me nervous, man. Uh,
How much more scared of her are you than Biden? I mean, I think they're
oh, I'm
both
far more.
nuts.
I'm scared of Biden, but she scares me even worse because she just has no practical experience in any of this.
Yeah.
She don't do finance, and she don't. The only thing she even understands a little bit about is law and order, and she don't have. Really, do you want her talking to Putin?
Yeah,
Or
and well, I don't
or
know how
she,
much more
I don't
experience he has
even.
at Law and Order, but look, she sounds exactly like Obama. Obama was what everyone said he was the great senator. He was in senator for 6 months,
6 months. He was a
and
junior
then he
senator.
quits. And then who was a great senator? He quits in 6 months, and then he has as much experience with the presidency as she does, and he's also was a lawyer. He and his wife had to actually voluntarily hand in their lawyer licenses in Illinois in order to not go to jail, and so how much more do they know about the law than she does?
It's I know I don't know they just scare me. I mean, but it proves a point in the United States because Trump got in. He was not a lawyer. He was not a politician. And he won. And Obama was the same thing. He was trying to be a politician, but he hadn't really become one yet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I heard how many he voted, how many times, it was very few times he actually voted in his 6 months tenure. He was a junior senator. I mean, he might not even get reelected. So it's a kind of a strange thing how all this played out. And but still, you know, who did he run against the first time? I can't even remember now.
Oh, jeez.
It was so long ago, I can't remember. Mitt
Yeah.
Romney, Mitt Romney, he would have lost to Romney, but Hurricane Sandy liked him, saved his happy ass. That and Fat Boy, Donut Boy up there shaking his hand on thank you, Mr. Obama, for helping us out so fast and so quick. And you're the man. So that was a Republican up there, shaking Obama's hand. So that hurt Romney. But, I didn't want him to be president either. I figured, I figured Obama's had already bottomed out. He's at his 1.3, 1.5 GDP. It wasn't going to get any worse. Unemployment was where it was. Gas was where it was. And it was going to stay like that until he was out. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I can deal with that. Romney, I was scared he might come over one morning and say, "Oh, everybody can have 20 wives. And if you don't, it's a penalty." Yeah, okay. He's so weird. And he's not a true Republican either. I hate these things. There really needs to be a centralist party where the moderates can get together and leave these whack job crazies in the left and the rights alone. Because if they stood alone by themselves, they'd sound a lot crazier than they do otherwise. I know AOC and what's her name, Omar. They both whack me out. I mean,
Yeah.
they're just insane.
Well, I mean, the perfect example you've already brought up is Trump, and I said it for years and years, even before I was on your network in the late '80s when what's his name that the billionaire in Texas who was going to trying to run against either Bush or Reagan, and he was in, he was out, he was in, he was out, and then the last 11th hour before you couldn't announce your candidacy, he's back in on the president race, and he killed the race for that guy that always held the pen, Bob something or other.
Yeah.
But I'd always said, even back then, what this country needs is we need to get the politicians and the lawyers out of the office, out of the public, out of the presidency, and get businessmen in there.
Well,
Because our government is a business, no matter how you want to look at it. There is a business model. They collect money from us, and then they vote. They have us vote on what they want that money to go, whether it goes to schools or public fixtures or streets and sewers and whatnot. And We got a businessman in the office. He brought our gas down from like $3.50 to almost $1.89 in places, and it went back up and stayed. It's kind of fluctuated between 2 and 2.50, and he got unemployment up over the 4.4% rate. What I forget his number was like 11 or 12% unemployment before he left office. How far did Obama get? Obama got it down to like 7% at the best in his 8 years, and at the worst when he left, it was like 3.5. And everyone says he's a great president. He didn't do the same things in his 8 years that Trump did in 4.
Yeah, that's the sad part. I mean, Trump brought it up. I mean, Trump's highest GDP was 3.8. His lowest was 3.3. I mean, shit, he already doubled him in GDP. He had the blacks and Hispanics had the lowest unemployment rate in the history of them. I mean, so as a financial president, he was good. As a military president, he was good. His problem was he was too much in your face for most of America. It's just
he was too politically incorrect. That was his problem. He spoke without using a filter.
He did, and and a lot of times he was wrong. Now, like some of the thing like a Corkin and stuff like that, I've heard doctors go back and forth on that, so I don't necessarily know if he was actually wrong on that. And I know people have used it now, but what bothers me about all this is I can understand pandemic, I can understand this, and so it just bothers me that we're giving untried drugs to children. And the guy, they said, no, they've been tried for 2 years. I said, dude, most clinical tests are 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years.
At the minimum, it's 24 months.
Yeah. I said, for the kids, I'm like, dude, I said, no, 10 years clinical trials. So it's not like the flu that we do every year. And we got a base product where we know that's only going to affect so many people so many ways. We have no idea how this is going to affect people in 10 years. And I said, if you don't believe me, you go look how many vaccines and how many drugs the FDA pulled 10 years later because they caused all kind of damage and all kind of excessive harm that we didn't need. The harm outweighed the benefit of the drug. And I said, and that happens a lot. I said, so now we're vaccinating, 6 billion people with a drug. We just don't know how it's going to react. He said, well, you took it. I said, no, actually, I took the Johnson & Johnson. He's like, what?
No, no mRNA.
And I said the J&J was traditional. It was part flu, part COVID. It was just like any flu vaccine.
No mRNA whatsoever. Yeah. It's just
no technology that's not. We don't quite understand what it is yet.
Not untested stuff.
And
we brought it up a couple of shows ago about the polio vaccine. Now it took them 10, 20 years to get that going correctly, and then there's I think one guy left in an iron lung. And when he passes, there isn't ever going to be anyone that needs an iron lung because polio has destroyed their muscles. It's dead. We killed it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of diseases we killed. But it does bother me on some things, though, like smallpox and a few other ones. If you're under 30, you're not protected from it anymore. It's been wiped out as far as we know completely. But
they stopped the vaccines.
Yes, but nobody gets them anymore because it just doesn't happen. So if anybody ever breaks out with it, and there has been isolated cases here and there, so it's weird. I worry because we know these labs. It's like the Wuhan thing. So it goes back. Every day I read an article. Oh, it was the lab. Oh no, it was the animals. Oh no, it was the lab. Oh no, it was the animals. So if it's from the WHO, okay, people, if it's from the WHO, the World Health Organization, it's always the animals. If it's from groups of scientists from different countries, it's always the lab.
I got something scary for you on that note. Not too far from me, and I used to live even closer when I was in Myersville, Maryland. I'm now in Pennsylvania, about 30 minutes from where my parents' house was. Just over the road, just over the border in Frederick, Maryland, is an army base that they have polio, smallpox, mumps, all these diseases. When you and I were kids, we got vaccines for them. But if they were to have an accident, smallpox could get out. And like you said, anyone under 30, it might kill them.
Yeah, it's a strange thing. I remember all the vaccinations we had to get, all that shit we got coming up. And you know what? I hate to say it, a lot of that was experimental too. But we also know that the country did some whacked out experiments on people that was kind of strange. Hello there, Roseanne. Corinne, if you're still around, hello again. What was that? I got a ghost in here. Should have fallen off the thing over there. It's not that kind of show tonight. Go away, ghost. You have to wait for Monday for that. Then you can come haunt whatever you want. I don't know. It's right now the way the government works is scary because it's so polarized. They can't get anything done. You have to have control to get anything. So what's going to happen in 2022? the Dems are going to get their asses handed to them. Whether they want to believe it or not, they're going to get their asses handed to them. It's going to be probably a super majority for on both houses for the Republicans. And then guess what? We have impeachment power. When I say we, I mean them, but still. Michael, no, sorry, dude. I'll go through the story. Okay. As a young man, I was a Democrat. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, no, as a young man, I was a Republican because that's in the deep South, red state, lived in Louisiana. Almost everybody's a Republican. And then I don't know what happened. I'm kind of a PL and Eller in some ways, or an LL and Eller, love, light, and lover, whatever. Um, so I said, you know what? Maybe the Democrats are right. Maybe we got. And then I realized after about 15 years or 10 years, I said they're just as as the other party is. I said in some ways they were actually worse. I was like, so I'm going to go independent. Well, independents are different, and we'll just leave it at that. I was going to say something else, but independents have their ways. But the centralist is more for me because I'm more in the center. I do on a lot of things. I like to be in the middle. I can see both sides' views, and a lot of times I can find a way to bring it into the middle. I just don't know why they can't. It's just sad today that it's so polarized. And I'm really thinking we need to go back to where if it's in the House, it needs to be 250 votes to pass a bill. And if it's in the Senate, it needs to be 61. That way it's always bipartisan. Because right now, any bill that gets passed for the most part is not going to be bipartisan.
Yeah, you're looking for 2/3 vote. I mean, it's so hard to get that.
Yeah, and it's
Even when they work together, it's hard to get that.
It is hard to get that. And as far as the impeachment, oh, Maryland. Well, hello up there, Maryland. It's somebody I already heard Republicans, not in the House or the Senate, mind you, but outside of talking about impeaching Kamala and Biden at the same time. So I'm like, really? I said, all I can hope is this impeachment is going to take 2 years. That way, Nancy Pelosi does not become president of the United States. Because you know what? She's going to step down this time, she says, and not run again. But if she thinks she might be president, you can bet your ass she's going to run again. She wants to be the first woman president. So, and she would be because if they were both impeached and removed from office, then it falls to her next, as Speaker of the House. So, could you imagine Nancy Pelosi running I would move.
Oh yeah,
I would move. Hey, Canadian, make some room for. Oh no, it's not. I might go to Mexico. It's warmer down here. Plus, American money goes further in Mexico. It goes pretty good in Canada too. I guess I should hate it.
You do get a lot more in Mexico, though. I mean, it's like almost 2-1.
Yeah. So you see, Mexico. Oh, and since I did that, oh gosh, it's a good segue into what is it? Rittenhouse? Is that how you say his name?
Rittenhouse.
Rittenhouse. There you go. Thank you. And as many times I heard it, you think I remember that. So now I've been listening, or seeing Rittenhouse all over the place for the last 2 weeks, I guess. Okay, so the first really exposure to it was on I heard about it was on NPR, riding to work in New Orleans, and I got into it real deep and blah blah blah. Well, of course, NPR basically said he was a white supremacist and a racist pig, and at the time I didn't know who he had shot. I just going by what they said. So 2 days later, I'm riding home, and Sean Hannity's on, which it's hard for me to listen to Sean Hannity. He's got a weird voice. I'm doing radio myself. I like to hear a particular tone in a voice when I'm listening to it. So it was kind of hard, but occasionally I'll listen to him. I loved Rush, by the way. I never agree with that S&B, but I loved listening to him. He's kind of like listening to Howard Stern, especially with your good and stone. You're like, wow, this dude is crazy, man. But anyway, getting back to what we were talking about. I don't know how it's gonna all work in this particular direction, but oh shit, I forgot what I was gonna say, and I went right out of my head. Well, sometimes being old bites people. I'm just telling you, it bites. But anyway, with the Rittenhouse kid, that's how I had heard it. So I caught the Sean Hannity part coming back. And of course, it was completely opposite than the NPR one. I mean, there was no middle ground between these two at all. So I said, okay, well, this sounds a little different. So then I hadn't seen the guy yet or the people he killed yet. So the next day I hear Uncle Cracker on TV. And if y'all don't know who Uncle Cracker is, that's Joe Biden. You know why I call him Uncle Cracker? Because he put more black people in jail than anybody in the history of the United States with the law he passed. And the only person that came as close to him is his VP, Kamila Harris, which is supposed to be a woman of color. Yeah, okay. My dog got more color than Kamala does. I'm sorry. You know what? Not only have anything against Kamala, I just think she got hog waggled into something she wasn't quite ready for. This is like what they did Obama. If they would let Obama spend 10 years in the Senate, he might have been a damn good president. He might have been able to get something done. He would have known how to play the game. But he was hog wild. He had no idea how to deal with the Republicans. He was just, and the idiots who were giving him advice didn't either. I think if he'd have spent 10 years, so the same thing with this woman. If she'd spent, a decade in the Congress, she might actually be a good president. But not like this. She just wouldn't have been a good president. So, and again, women, I'm sorry, she janked y'all on this thing. But getting back to Rittenhouse, because I keep getting sidetracked. So I hear Biden on television calling him a racist pig and a Nazi. I'm like a Nazi.
Neo-Nazi.
Neo-Nazi.
Or white supremacist.
Yeah, you're right. White supremacist. That's what he's going on about. He's a white supremacist. He's a white supremacist, and he's a racist. So I'm like, okay, he must have shot some brothers. That's what I thought, because when I finally seen the guy, he looks kind of white. So I'm thinking, well, he must have shot some brothers. So the next day, it's like 4 days in now for me, people. So the next day, I see the three people got shot. That two that got killed and one that survived. I'm like, wait a minute,
3 white brothers.
I said, they white. And I mean, they're white. They ain't no mistaking. There's no way a news person could mistake that these were anything but white people. So I'm like, well, it kind of rules out neo-Nazi or white supremacist. Kind of really rules out racist too. So then I see a clip of the video. So there's a couple of clips of video out there. Depends on what angle you see him at. So the one that the prosecutor used was trying to show him using the gun to try to provoke. The one that really mattered was the one when he was on the ground and the guy looked like he was going to step on his face. Yeah, he had plenty of reason to shoot the bastard then. Then we find out who these 3 guys are that he shot. And I'm like, well, wait, I'm not really feeling bad that this even happened at this point. And then they said, oh, well, he provoked it. So, okay, this is my point of view. I'm a big guy. I own guns. So if I was coming down the street with a crowd and I seen somebody pointing a rifle at me, I would go the other way. Because more than likely, the son of a bitch is going to shoot me. I mean, it doesn't take rocket science to figure this out. So if you were going down after you seen it, you were wanting to get into it. There was no other excuse for it. So that's the way the jury seen it. Well, you seen the guy with the gun, but you still went. Yeah, you was looking for it. And the guy didn't shoot him immediately, which showed he did show restraint. So I was like, And then I said, well, wait, where's the racist part? So I'm looking at these guys. I said, maybe one of them's Hispanic or something, Asian. No, they just white boys. I'm like, oh, dumb white boys at that, but just white boys. I was like, Jesus. So, I got a couple friends over at NBC. So I call Bruce Reed up. He goes, I said, Reed, what y'all doing? I said, he's going to sue the crap out of you, right? He's like, oh, yeah, but we pay out so many suits every year. It just becomes a thing now. I just started laughing. So they don't even care. They're like Joe Biden when he says, well, I'll just break the law and until they make us stop. That's the Democrats' new thing for about the last 10 years now. It started with Obama, about the last 14 years now. We'll break the law until the Supreme Court slaps us down, and then we'll stop. Which there should be some kind of punishment for that. Lose some seats in the House or the Senate or something, but there should be some kind of punishment for that. And then, go ahead. Let me cut you off.
Well, there's a couple other things that I saw that some points they made about this whole case on Facebook. It's not the best platform, but they actually had to the prosecution had to make sure that certain things came out, and they had to ask their guys, were you chasing him down? Well, yeah, we were. Were you threatening him? Yeah, we were. And you've watched the videos. This 17-year-old boy runs. He does the smart. He tries to get away from these people, but they hunt him down. And you can actually hear in some of the video, get him. They're not saying kill him. They're saying get him. You're 17 years old. You got a rifle, and you showed enough restraint and adulthood to run away from a crowd who's trying to hurt you. Don't shoot at them until you fall down on your face and they get on top of you. And that's what he did. Is he shot those 2 guys with, granted, point blank range, but in self-defense. And then the prosecution tried to bring up the fact that, well, you brought a gun to a stick fight, you lose the chance of self-defense. Well, that's bullcrap. You own guns. I own guns. Yeah. They just passed constitutional carry in the state of Pennsylvania. It's not fully on yet, but at some point I'll be able to carry concealed without a license.
Yep, which is nice.
Which means I can go into the, across the street to the convenience store with a concealed weapon on me. And if someone tries to hurt me, pulls a knife, pulls a stick, or just says, I'm going to kill you, as soon as they say I'm going to kill you, I have automatic fear for my life and the legal capacity to pull out my gun and say, no, you're not. And I don't lose the ability of self-defense because I brought a gun. I didn't bring the gun thinking I'm going to get threatened by my life. It's a precaution. You know, if I go into that clothing store and it's being robbed and I shoot the guy who's trying to rob the place, I don't go to jail.
Yeah,
He goes to jail.
and it's not even always about that, because just a couple of weeks ago, matter of fact, I had my gun on me the other day when I was down in French Quarter working on a property. But a couple of months back, about 2 months ago, I was on the same property, and for some reason, I decided, bring my gun with me. It's the French Quarter's got a lot of tourists, but it's dangerous, and especially when you're in working clothes, because they know you either carry money or tools or something. So I lock in my car, put my gun on, I'm carrying tools to where I'm going. So I go in and do this job, and I said, okay, I can finish the job. And I was going to stop at the raw shop. I even forgot what it was for. And then I walked down to my car, put everything up, walked back into the raw shop, and I was standing there. Oh, yeah, I was going to get my wife's cigarettes. And I was standing there, and I had two guys in front, and they're just swapping things. And, oh, no, show me this and show me that. And they're going back for keeping the guy, kind of busy. And I'm watching this other guy behind me walking. He's making me nervous. And at the time, you couldn't see my gun. I had my shirt was over it. So I said, you know what? And then I see they kind of ran up. He came kind of rushed up fast behind the other guys. And he was standing there, and then the guy said something. He went to go get something. And right as the guy looked like he's pulling something, the other guy looked like he's about to pull out a knife, because I seen it in his hand, kind of his pocket. And as he did, I started coughing. And when I did, I just reached up and put my shirt over the gun. And I said, what's up, guys? All three of them left. At that moment, they all left.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to rob this dude. And the dude's like, what happened? I said, they're going to rob you, dude. He said, nah, I know. He said, thank God you came in. He said, so nice when people carry it like that. I was like, well, I wasn't trying to show anybody a damn thing, but, they got it all on video. They gave it to the police, and the cops are looking for him. And the cops agreed they were going to ride him. The cops said, what do you have used? I said, if he tried to stick me with that knife, you damn right I would have used it. He said, what if you tried to stick the guy? I said, yeah, I shot him then too. I said, I'm not going to let somebody get killed. Mm-hmm. I said, if you're stupid enough to go after somebody when you see a gun, you should, So that's my point with the Rittenhouse guy. This guy's got a rifle. Yeah. Y'all are bum rushing him. You're lucky he just didn't go and just kill about 10 of you bitches, which he'd put into jail for, but still, you'd all be dead. It worries me when I see stuff like this, because he was well in his right to defend himself. And there's so many states now that have the defense law, that you can shoot somebody if you feel threatened. Mm-hmm. It happens all the time in Florida, man. They use it all the time. Yeah, my husband was threatening me. Pow! Oh, yeah, you're good. Go on. Y'all think I'm kidding people. Florida's bad about that shit down there. Florida's a weird state. You can't open carry in Florida, but you can carry concealed. I'm like, what? I said, it's more of a deterrent when you can see it. But, I got two. My little gun I carry concealed all the time because you can't see the damn thing. But the big 9 I have, the German made, the Turkish made, when I carry it, pitch everywhere I go. And you can see it. It sits out there. And when you look at it, it is badass. You don't even have to guess. You look at this gun, this gun will kill people. It's 22 rounds, unless I put the 34 round clip in it, then it's 35 rounds. And I carry several of them clips on my car. So I'm like, that's screw with me, people. It's going to be the wild. Plus, people, I'm special forces and trained in handguns, not including growing up in a Kuyon Bayou boy. Don't mess with me with guns. But I'm with it. But it's like I hear these commercials all the time. Oh, get a safe, put your gun in it, lock the trigger. Really? So as the robber's coming through my window with his 9mm, I'm dead, because by the time I get to stupid, and I'm half asleep. Now the other way, boom, I hit a glass break. I reach over, grab Martha, flick on the light. What are you doing in my house? Just sit down. No, sit down. No, sit down. Don't move. You're gonna regret it if you move. Just sit there. Cops are on their way. And it's
yeah, I've always wondered about that too. That doesn't make any sense. Now, okay, I have several. I probably don't have the collection you've got, Joe, but I can understand locking up most of them. I don't need them all.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Locked and loaded, ready to go. But I keep one ready to go. It's well hidden. And like you said, if I hear a glass break or the door getting kicked in, that's in my hand. The cops are called. I might even take the time to put in ear protection so I don't blow my ears out when I have to, if I have to use it. But it makes no sense. And they always tell you, lock your gun up and separate the ammo. Well, how much sense does that make? You have two safes. Yeah. You got one for your ammo, one for your guns. Yeah. You got a trigger lock on your gun. You got the gun locked in the locker. You got the ammo locked in the locker. You wake up half asleep. I'm supposed to open up the locker, open up a a trigger lock and then get ammo loaded into a
Well,
magazine. Or
I can't speak for anybody other than the states I've lived in, but we teach our kids at a young age what a gun is. The first time I shot a gun, I actually had a pellet gun by the time I was 6. My first shotgun I got at 10, which was a 410, and by the time I was 12 and 13, I was hunting with a 12 gauge.
Mhm.
And my dad, my grandpa, my dad made sure I understood what a handgun was, what it was for, how to use it. They used to take us out, and they made a point. They'd take us out and set up watermelons and just let you shoot them. Yeah, watermelons, so you knew what a person's brains would look like. It'd give you an idea if you screwed up what would happen if you shot someone. And then of course after you've gone hunting, you already have a good idea what it is to kill something. So,
Yeah.
so on the odds of you accidentally shooting somebody goes down greatly, or doing something stupid. But I agree, most of them should be locked up and put away where they can't get
Mhm.
to them. What's that? What's that comment there? Turn it up.
I
What
would
we
like to
got?
point out that exploding army guy yelled "cranium him" when they chased Kyle. That's basically kill him. The defense missed that. I agree with that one. I didn't
Yeah,
catch that
yeah,
one either. But
yeah. And there was a couple of other ones that they had said something like that. Like I said, somebody asked me, "Well, what are you going to say when you get on air?" But I said, "Well, I have no pony in this. I have no dog
yeah.
in this hunt. It doesn't. It matters, but it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't affect me personally. I was glad to see that they were thorough on both sides. I did notice that the prosecutor tried a couple of little cheesy tricks, but that's to be expected.
Yeah.
The lawyers did a pretty good job. But the lawyers almost screwed themselves with
Hmm.
that mistrial shit. They got a mistrial when he was going to be found innocent. That would have been too much. Anyway, it worked out how it worked out. As last I heard, it hasn't been any rioting in the streets or anything like that because
There
this
was
ain't a
some
black
video
person.
outside the courthouse. There was a lot of people milling about, but no violence. There
Yes,
were some
because it's
protesters, but it was peaceful.
nobody cares. It was some white guys. They're not going to riot over some white guys. What the hell? There's plenty of white guys. It's just one of them things, people. No, it's not. No, it's not racist. It was white guys. Yeah, nobody's going to riot. Who's a riot over some white guys? That's no fun. It was pointed out to me to a couple of my black friends today that none of them are in BLM and they don't know anybody that's in BLM. So I asked a couple of black guys on the station. They're not in BLM and they don't know anybody in BLM. So I was on one of two of my job sites there, and I was talking to one of my subcontractor groups, which is majority black. I said, "Are y'all any y'all in BLM?" They're like, "Why?" I said, "No, no, no. I'm just curious." And I said, "No, you're not getting in trouble." I said, "I do radio." I said, "I'm just doing like a survey." I said, "Because I got a lot of." So anyway, explain it to me. They're like, "No," and they don't know nobody that's in it. I'm confused, and I live in New Orleans, people. Now I've worked press for BLM, but it was pointed out to me in a couple of those things that most of the black people there weren't from here.
Hmm.
So so I started asking around. I've been asking around. I'm just going to keep asking around until I go through all the people I know in the city, and I see because I'm kind of curious to if most of these people are showing up or not from where they are. It just bothers me. It's
Well, I'll tell you something I've been seeing on Facebook a lot is I don't see a lot of people that are black that have the BLM banner as their profile picture. Most of them are white people, and I'm thinking that they just
yeah,
don't know, but they have the BLM banner under their profile picture.
I got
And
to tell you, one of the funniest things I ever seen is in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Now, Hattiesburg and Jackson used to be two of the most racist places on the planet, and probably still has some really underneath, seedy belly racist people up there. So Lynn and I up there, we stopped to have lunch. We were going somewhere else. We were going through this town. I seen looks like a nice little steak shop, mid range. I says, "I'll pull in. We're gonna get some lunch." So we go, we have lunch, we pull out, we're leaving, and this big BLM protest going on. So I'm getting out, I'm talking to people. I want to do some video, to do some chatting. Not a black person, not one. So I got to thinking. So I know what happened. Them brothers ain't stupid. They said, I'm not going to have a bunch of redneck people from Mississippi. Ain't no way. And they thinking they might get drug in the woods or something. You know what? I'm not sure they wouldn't. It scared me. And then a couple of weeks later, we were in Jackson. I seen the exact same thing. I was like, y'all couldn't even get one black person to come here. It bothered me. It still bothers me because you hear me talking about it now. It just bothers me. It's a freaky weird thing. I would think you're gonna have BLM. You might invite some black folk to come to it. Just it would seem like a pertinent idea, but I guess we're gonna leave it alone. Um, what do you mean Alabama, Christopher? I know a lot of people in Alabama. I haven't met anybody racist in Alabama, but I do know a lot of people in Alabama. I know people, black people, white people. I know Chinese people, if you want to know the truth. Alabama is one of them states that likes to keep to itself. It's got great hidden jewels all over, up
Hmm.
top of the state, bottom of the state, middle of the state. The place is just beautiful from top to bottom.
King George
But
Lake.
yeah, and they don't tell anybody about it. They don't want you stupid people knowing about it. They look. No, it ain't just about Yankees, even though they don't want Yankees there either. They ain't too happy about Southerners coming in.
Yeah.
They're like, so Dolphin Island is this little island in the Gulf of Mexico at the bottom of Alabama, right across from Gulf Shores, Alabama. So we go down there, right? We used to go back there when we were young. They look at us like, they'd see them Louisiana plates, man, instantly. Everybody became rude, like, get out of here.
You
We
all
don't
ain't from
want you
around
here.
here, are you?
Cops would follow you around the island and shit. It was crazy. And even now, they don't really like people from out of state coming in their state. That's why you don't see advertising, because they look, as far as a nature state, they're kicking everybody's ass. They got mountains, they got gulfs, they got lakes, they got everything. Bayous, bays, woods, you name it. They got everything in one state. And it's not like 5 billion people like California is. So, and the ground don't shake. And it's for some reason they get hit with hurricanes as bad as some of the other states do.
Hmm.
So, it's a great state.
I can tell you why they do that. And the perfect example, I lived in Savannah, Georgia for 13 years, went to school there at the art school. Great town. I mean, it's a fantastic town. It's almost as cool. I've never been to New Orleans. I just can imagine it is as cool as New Orleans. New Orleans, you can carry a beer or an alcoholic beverage in a non-breakable container, wood, plastic, what have
Yeah.
you. But same in Savannah, you can go to a bar and you can get a beer and you can drink half of it and get it in, they call it a go cup, and go to the next bar and drink the rest of it, get a new one, go to the next bar, and so on.
Yeah.
But we have the second largest celebration of St. Patrick's Day in the entire country. New York or Chicago is number one, and then Savannah, this little tiny rinky-dink town in Georgia, is number two in the whole country. So it's like, I don't know, 1 million people from outside of Savannah show up. I'm sure a lot of them are from within the state of Georgia, but there's a lot from Florida and Alabama and wherever else. But the crime rate for that whole weekend, 2, 3, 4 days, goes up, 90%. They're getting people for peeing on the streets, and the penalty for that is $1,000 fine and a minimum year in jail. They're getting people for fighting, people for, doing things illegal with liquor and all kinds of stuff. But that's why these other little rinky-dink towns and rinky-dink states, they don't want outsiders coming in, because of the crime rate. They wouldn't be able to keep up. And, I think for Savannah, they actually have to call in, extra backup. They don't have, their police officers don't have that weekend off. The whole police force is on for that whole weekend because the violence increases exponentially.
Yeah. See, it's weird down here.
You've been doing it a lot longer.
Yeah, for the quarter, there's not much in the way of crime. I mean, there's pickpocketing and shit like that, fighting, stupid shit, showing too much of your body in places. But but for the most part, it's a pretty peaceful affair. There has been some violent Mardi Gras in the past, but none that I personally attended. I mean, there was some when I was young and going, but see, there's like two different Mardi Gras here. There's the French Quarter Mardi Gras, which is for everybody and the tourists. And then there's Mardi Gras in Metairie and some of the surrounding towns. They're more, even though they're just as big and have sometimes even more floats and more days, they're really for the suburbs. They're for the people who live there. They're not really. So you don't get to go around smoking marijuana like you do in a city, and can't be just walking around with your tits hanging. Excuse my language, ladies, but you can't. Now in New Orleans, they don't really care. They don't care. Now, I mean, it's for that, but that's about as far as you can go. You do any more than that, they're going to go like humping the poles or things like that. Yeah, guess what, guys? They're going to put you in jail for that. They really are.
And I got to ask you, Joe, because you're from down there and you've experienced it, and I haven't. I really would like to try it one time. But what is so wrong with ladies pulling their shirt up and getting beads for showing their boobs? It's not like they're showing,
nobody cares down here. Yeah,
getting their head cut off.
Yeah, nobody cares down here. So on Bourbon, the women just get on the balconies. And what's great about this is these are women from all around the world and around the country. These are working women, mothers, justices, people, lawyers. You just don't. I mean, it's just a thing, and you can do it. And nobody cares. The only thing you got to be careful for, if you're in a key position, there are a lot of flashing cameras going on. A lot of times, it's not the people in the crowd taking the pictures. It's like the pictures on the balconies and cameras on, because there's cameras all over Bourbon Street now. You can actually watch Mardi Gras. A couple times I filmed it. I filmed Bourbon Street a couple of years. Let people watch it all day long, or watch one of the parades. But it's interesting. People down here they get along. And you see people always talk about racism. Racism doesn't exist down here like it does in other places. One, the city's half black, and two, we're going to all be mixing in the French Quarter all the time, not just doing Mardi Gras, but year round. So you can't have that kind of crime going on. It'll ruin the French Quarter. And everybody's there. So everybody has fun. Everybody goes down there to have fun. I mean, you're going to have idiots from time to time. People who said, "Let me sell you this joint for $5," and it's probably sawdust or something. People beware. I'm just trying to help y'all out, man. Find a legitimate source is all I can tell you.
It could be oregano with a little bit of rubber cement glue.
It could be any damn thing as far as you know. So, it could be some dirt out the yard in the back. Just be careful. So I'm just warning y'all. But getting back to go ahead.
But the thing that's still, it's not just Mardi Gras. It's just this has confounded me for years. There was the Janet Jackson thing with the Super Bowl where her boob fell out and everyone had a panic attack. At the same time, they're showing the Taliban and other Muslim extremists chopping people's heads off on the news. Would you rather see a boobie or a head chopped off? I don't know. And then also around the same time, I think maybe a little bit before that, Janet Jackson thing, New York, there was a lady, and not an attractive lady. I'm not saying anything bad about her, but a protester. She was upset about the fact that men could go into the convenience store and jog around Central Park with their shirts off, but she couldn't.
Yeah.
She walked into a store with her boobies out and she got arrested, and she got it through to the city. The lawmakers of New York City actually invoked a law that wherever a man can go without a shirt, so can women. So this woman can now, if she wants to, in the summertime, jog through New York Central Park with her boobies flopping around. Not a big deal. But you see it all the time. All these people, they freak out and panic that some ladies pulled their shirt up to get a handful of beads at Mardi Gras. Why does it matter? Who cares? I mean, most of the time at this party, there aren't little 5-year-old kids running around.
Yeah, they're not.
Looking at boobies.
Yeah, down here, it's not a big deal. Most people can. And of course, most of Europe, it's not a thing over there. I mean, they got it in their damn commercials.
Almost every beach in Europe is topless at the very least.
Oh, yeah. Most of them half of them are nudist beaches. And there are a few in the United States. I mean, when I first got out of boot camp in California, a friend of mine took me down to a place called Black's Beach. It was an interesting walk. I didn't care. Then I just got out of boot camp, and I was like muscle from head to toe. But still, it's still a little weird walking around sandy beaches with no clothes. I'm just saying, people, it's kind of weird.
You got to make you feel weird.
When I go to a nude beach, you got to be kidding me. And not because I'd be embarrassed or anything. I'd just be scaring the natives. They'd be running for cover. No, so we'll leave that.
Even 3 footprints behind. How dare you, Joe?
I know that's off of our to-do list now. We've already done that. I'm joining my high a couple of times on that, so that's way out of that. So some of my bucket list is getting done. I'm just saying it's getting done. No, but anyway, getting back to the Rittenhouse case, I know there was a lot of stuff written about this, and now you're starting to see things like where was it? I was just reading that Rittenhouse verdict at odds with media narrative, of course, because the media lied.
Yeah.
And this gets, I've heard at least a dozen lawyers today sounding off about this kid is going to be famous and rich.
He already is.
Yeah, but they mean like famous, rich. He said he's going to get so much money. He said Joe Biden stuck his foot so far up his ass that he don't know how the White House is going to deal with this, because clearly he's not a racist. There's nothing that even suggests he's racist, not in his Facebook, not in his past. No one said he was a racist. It didn't even come up in the trial.
Yeah.
Because what was white people killing white people? So it's not really racism, can't be involved there. Nothing suggests that he was a Nazi anywhere. It's just, but the president the other day is ranting and raving how he is. So that just tells you how stupid presidents are. They don't even check their own sources. I would be like, wait, what's going on? Are you sure about that? Can I see some pictures? Because they screw up a lot. I've noticed with the Democrats more so than the Republicans lately. They must have some young teeny bopper aides running around doing shit because they're like Z-Gen with they've been smoking pot all day or something.
Mm-hmm.
They just write something out as it's true, and then it turns out later on that it's not. So, wait, who? Wait, where'd that come from? Oh, it did scare me that Kamala was president. I'm sorry, man. I didn't know. I figured China might try to invade.
Yeah.
Chris, she was chanting. Hey, let me post this where y'all can see it. She was chanting. I guarantee you, she's in my head. Die, you bastard! Die, you bastard! Die, you bastard! I mean, she hated him from the beginning. Remember how she used to talk about how kind of racist pig he was, and he shouldn't even be allowed to run for president. Now she's his VP.
Now she's his right hand man.
My heart stopped. Yeah, let me tell you what. I was scared, man. I was like, "Oh shit, she's gonna be president. I'm moving somewhere. Alaska, California. No, not California. Alaska, Canada, Mexico. I might think about going to Europe. I don't know if you get far enough away from that shit. She
Yeah.
scares me almost as bad as Nancy Pelosi scares me. And Bruce, whoever wrote that earlier, you mean like the GOP? Who's in charge right now? Not Schumer. He scares me. McCartney. He scares me just as much as Nancy does. Yeah, because when you've been in office that long, power. There's a thing about absolute power corrupts absolutely. And
Hmm.
it's true in these cases. When you watch these guys, I'm listening to congressmen and senators talk about the real world. Okay, not meaning their world, meaning our world is the real world. Theirs is whatever fucking world they live in.
Yeah.
But obviously, they don't consider it the real world. We're the real world. And it's just even sad to hear him talk about us. We're like second class citizens in our own country. And then I'm listening to John Kennedy today talk about this is America. How can we have shortages of food? How can we have this? How can we have that? He said, "What the hell is going on with you, Mr. Biden? This has never happened. We were at war and this didn't happen." And I was like, "Oh shit!" I had to turn it off. I can't listen to him ramble on like that forever. Sometimes I'm like, just make your point and go sit down. Because especially if you're trying to listen on a particular day when there's going to be a bunch of them speaking. Oh man, they get on these things. No, I'm not anti-filibuster. Anything that slows the progress of some of these bills. I mean, look at this last one. Another 5,000-page bill. $3 trillion, 5,000 pages. I mean, God knows what was in this thing.
And
No, they sure
are
don't.
how are all of our representatives and congressmen supposed to read 5,000
They're
pages
not. It's
in time?
bullshit.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So they go hire like 10 aides and they go through it, and you got to
At
go by the
least
aide's opinion. So you're going by some 20-something-year-old's opinion when you're thinking, wow, that's just ignorant. And it was ignorant.
you really literally have to hire experienced lawyers to go through some of those documents because the way they write those bills
Yeah.
and other things, it's just if you don't have any kind of legalese in your brain, it's nothing but gobbledygook to you.
Well, that segues to something we were talking about earlier. There are so many lawyers in Congress now; it's ridiculous. I
Mhm.
know when I was a kid, there was a lot of farmers in there, a lot of businessmen in there, a lot of leaders in there. But now it's like I think 70, 80% lawyers. That's why Congress never gets anything done because lawyers can't do anything but fight and
Yeah.
argue and bitch and stalemate most of the time. I'm just ready. I'm ready for something different. I don't feel like we've had a real president since I don't even know. You got to go back. What do you mean, Reagan? No, Reagan was a good president. He still got the highest approval rating of any
Yeah,
president.
but still, you got
But
to go back further.
I mean, and he did good things, but still, he was a little off.
What are you thinking,
And,
like Truman, Eisenhower, that far back?
so what we'll do for recent times, we'll do Reagan. But then if you go back, I'm thinking, pro-war, maybe right before, right after, somewhere up in there, probably going to be the really best presidents. There's a lot of stuff that was put in place through the 40s and 50s that are still in place today. And even either side won't screw with it, like income
Mhm.
tax or Social Security. Some things that they were just good ideas, regardless who started, which I think were Democrats actually.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you
So
know,
you're definitely talking Truman, Eisenhower era.
yeah. So and no, I don't have anything against Reagan. I think Reagan's better than anybody since him. I'm not even going to lie. Uh, and as far as George W. Jr. went, Darth Cheney was running the country. People, I am Darth Cheney, and I have a fake heart, and I will take you over. It's and you know what? He must be. Is he even still alive? I mean, he must hate his daughter. She's been
I don't
thrown out of
know.
the GOP. It's I thought he died, but I mean, if he did, he's probably rolling over a grave. I mean, this girl's nowhere near like her daddy. Her daddy would have been slapping Trump on the ass, going, "Yeehaw, baby, let's party on. Let's take over the world." Well, Christopher, for the
Yeah,
what?
he's still alive,
Damn, he
80
must be
years old.
he must be wanting to slap his daughter around, been thrown out the party and stuff. He must be going, "Oh my God, what's wrong with you, girl?" There's no way he would agree with anything that Nancy Pelosi agreed about, just out of sheer spite. He hated him. And I started calling him Darth Cheney from day one. I'm like, and then when he had to go get his new heart, I was like, oh yeah, he's definitely Darth
Yeah, they might
Cheney.
as well call her, Darth Liz. She looks just like her dad.
Yeah, and she's a crappy politician. She
Oh,
she's
yeah,
she might as well run. See, reason she won't go to the Democrat side is because she won't win
yeah.
re-election. But I don't know if she's going to now. She's been thrown out the party. I don't know.
I don't think after this Biden fiasco, any Democrat's going to win for 15, 20 years.
It's going to be bad. I mean, there's been a lot of stuff. Somebody said, "Oh, he's got a whole year to turn it around." And I said, let's put it this way. He said he just did his big bill that everybody was touting a great thing, and he bipartisan, and his poll numbers went down 2 more points.
Well, and look at the logistics. I mean, it took Trump 4 years to get the economy to where it was just prior to losing. And Biden takes over January 20th of this year. Within 6 months, the economy is tanking. Gas prices go from $2, $2.50 a gallon to $4. In some places like Alaska, it's maybe even almost $5 a gallon. Hawaii, it's at least $5 a gallon.
Oh yeah.
And everyone's saying, and Biden, by the way, is saying we're successful now. How is it successful when my electrical conduit goes from $1.52 for a 10-foot half-inch stick to over $6? It over tripled in price. My electrical wiring in my department has gone from inexpensive to double the price in just 6 months of his presidency. It's ridiculous.
And they keep blaming it on COVID. And then the guy pointed out to him, he said, Trump had COVID for 14 months, right? And he managed to keep the economy on track, even with half the country being out of work.
Yeah.
Well, one, he didn't go around printing a bunch of money. Libs, printing money does not help makes inflation. And you know what inflation is? It's a tax on the middle class and the poor. That's what inflation is. Because rich people aren't going to notice it. Oh, I got a private jet. Fill it up. He ain't worried that's $2 more a gallon. He's going on about his business. I want that steak right there.
In my department during the COVID thing, the prices actually went down on things.
Yeah, because nobody was buying them. And
exactly. Okay, so I work in I'm not going to give away the company, but I work in a major home improvement store, and we were deemed an essential business, because even if you're staying at home during the height of the COVID thing, if your toilet explodes, it's an essential item. You have to go out and get it. There's no ways around that. Yeah. So our customers' focus went from. And we did see some people come in to buy mulch and buy flowers. You don't need a flower it's just, that blew my mind. But the legitimate people were coming in for building materials, the electrical items, plumbing items, things that they needed to make their home livable while they're not at work. And so we were deemed an essential business. And a lot of our stuff went down in price because people they couldn't buy that stuff. They didn't need that stuff. They needed other stuff. So the whole focus went from, every year we have things that sell out: mulch, dirt, flowers, etc. That focus during COVID completely changed, and things that we don't sell out of, I can't keep on the shelves. One gang electrical boxes, particularly old work boxes, I get a box of 150 of them. It's gone in 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, my partner's an electrician. He's been buying shit up left and right too.
You got to. If you see it on the shelf, buy it, because it's not going to be there tomorrow.
No, it's not. You better buy. And that's that goes to another thing when you're talking about supplies for Christmas and things. People, a lot of people are not wanting to go to stores because they know it's going to be long waits because everybody's shorthanded, and it's true. Yep. If you're going to be shopping this holiday season, you have to be patient. It's going to be hard to find help.
Yeah. Don't yell at me because we're out of something. That's not my fault.
And like the home improvement stores, the two major ones down here, I'm in all the time. And Home Depot, I know more people now because Lowe's, I used to know everybody, but they keep swapping them out. Or they're just having a hard time keeping them. But
we're having a hard time now. I can tell you from my experience, we're losing. We are not losing. We are hemorrhaging associates from our company to places like Amazon and other warehouses that are paying, upwards of $18 and $20 an hour.
Yeah, and a lot of Amazon jobs are sitting your ass at home and do so for $18, $20 an hour. And that's the other thing. People are going to have to catch up. We're looking for laborers for our company. Usually we would pay between 12 and 15. They want 20, 25, which we can't pay. If we pay that, I'll have to go up on everybody's prices. Even contracts. Right now I'd have to go up on the contracts because,
and then you're going to lose your contracts.
That's right. Unskilled labor for $20 or $25. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Who would do that? And then somebody said, well, hamburger people have the right to make. I said, let me explain something to y'all about McDonald's.
It's an unskilled labor.
It is an unskilled labor, but it's not meant to be a lifetime job. I said, if you notice the majority of these stores, except for management, are kids. It's not meant, it's supposed to be a place where you go to learn how to be it, not to be a lifetime cook at McDonald's, because you're gonna peak out. If you don't get into management, you're gonna max out. Yeah. And even in management, like shift managers, they're gonna max out. Assistants are going to max out, and even GMs will max out. But GMs make so much money from McDonald's, it's ridiculous. If you got a
Unless you're a
crappy store,
franchisee, you're not going to make $1 million there.
yeah. If you're, I'll tell you this, people, if you're a GM for McDonald's and you got a decent store, you'll make about $200,000 to $300,000 a year in salary, and
Mhm.
in bonus probably the same. Now, people that like the veterans two stores out here in Ramadi, well, their bonuses are $1 million. They wide. They're probably more than that now. So these guys are taking bank, and these are stores that everybody wants to get their hands on. But it tells you how much money they're making that the owners don't mind giving you $1 million bonus. And that's not atypical. I mean, atypical is probably going to be $100,000 or $200,000 bonus at the end of the year. And yes, you do have to go to Hamburger College. Trust me, you do.
Yeah.
So much, you learn so much there. What can I say? I'm just
Yeah,
teasing
but
about
I mean,
people.
you're 100% right. When I was a kid in the 80s, in high school, McDonald's actually advertised that their jobs were to help you go into the job market. They weren't looking for lifetime employees. And I don't think they still are, but the job at McDonald's was to give you job ethics, job morality, not necessarily job security, but, uh, work ethic, good work ethic in the job market so that you could move on to do something else.
Yeah, and it's what it really is. And it's not just them. There's a bunch of other companies like that are meant to be job. In the convenience store business, most of the people that are working your afternoons and evening shift are usually people going to school. They're not going to
Mhm.
be there for life with you, and they're not going to make
Yeah.
enough money there for what they're going to college to stay there.
Any of my friends that worked at McDonald's in the 80s, they were there 3 or 4 hours a week, 2 or 3 days a week, 3 or 4 hours each shift. That's it.
Yeah,
Wasn't
and
full time.
it's a strange thing. I mean, all these businesses, it's hard. It's hard to pay your floor people and all $20 an hour because then you got to carry that on to the customer. So the products now, so that goes up hill. When you always hear them say, "Well, give everybody 15." So if we decide to pay everybody $15 an hour that are like at McDonald's and stuff, then let's say the people who are already making $15 an hour should be making 25.
Well, it's
So
not just
you're
McDonald's. It's 7-Elevens. It's any convenience store, Rutter,
oh
Sheets,
yeah,
you know,
but that's what I'm saying.
gas
So
stations.
now you've got blue collar workers out there, cops and stuff like that are making, $15, $20 an hour. Now all of a sudden you're gonna have to give them a raise because they're not gonna. I mean, why do their job if they go flip a hamburger for $15 an hour and make the same money? It makes it hard. So everybody's got to get a raise. A friend of mine who's a fireman said, well, if they do that, he said I only make 18. He said
I
I
got
might as
something
well
that'll
just go
shock
do
you,
it.
Joe.
Uh,
This will shock you to your core. And maybe about 10, 15 years ago, at least 10, 15 years ago, and I was between jobs and I was living in Frederick. Uh, I was looking into other jobs, and one of the jobs I looked into, it was in Montgomery County, which is within at least the top 10, possibly even the top 5 richest counties in the country. I was looking into becoming either Montgomery County police officer or, it's one of the city police officers, Rockville, etc. Do you know what they were offering to pay a police officer an entry level policeman's position? This is 10, 15 years ago. Now, just take a guess how much you think they were offering to pay
I don't know, 20,
yearly.
18, 20.
21,665, something like that.
You know why I know that? Because New
McDonald's workers
Orleans.
even back then made more than that.
Yeah. Well, the reason I know that is New Orleans got in trouble because until recently they would only offer you between 17 and 21 as a rookie. So, but this is what kills
Risk
you. You
your
go to
life, yeah.
so you go to Kenner. Kenner starts you at 30 and guarantees you'll be making 50 actually after a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So that's worth at least 50 grand at least a year's worth being a cop.
Yeah.
It bothers me that we do things like, okay, we'll pay some athlete $100 million a year, but the
To carry a
policeman,
ball.
yeah. So the policemen and the firefighters and EMTs, who are really the people that keep us safe from everybody,
Right. They're
we,
going to
we,
carry
we
you
want,
to a
yeah,
hospital.
we want to give them 20, 25, 30,000. I mean, that's ridiculous.
And they get very little cost of living increase. In some counties, they might get a certain benefit. They might not pay electrical bill. They might not pay a cable bill. They might not pay their phone bill. I think in Los Angeles County, the chips, the California Highway Patrolmen, they get a discount on apartment rentals, and they don't pay one bill. I don't know if it's electrical or gas, but there's one utility they do not have to pay, which is good, but still they're paying them $20,000 a week or a year rather. It's pathetic.
Yeah, and then they want to know why we have crooked cops. Well, yeah, people. I mean, you're paying a cop nothing.
To risk his life for you.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand if they're like a parking attendant or something. I said, but the guy out there who's putting his line on the life on the line, y'all should be paying him. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Kimberly, no, we talked about the media. Let me tell you this: I haven't had a chance to watch the reaction of NBC and CNN or anything yet, but I'm going to the next 2 days because I want to talk about it next week or week after. But at this point, you can't trust the mainstream media, or I should say,
Mainstream media,
yeah, mainstream. You can't trust them anymore. I mean, all you heard from ABC, CBS, CNN, and NBC
Fox.
was is that he was guilty racist pig. Fox took the other line, which they always
Did they?
do.
Oh,
Yeah.
good for
Fox
them.
always does. Yeah, they don't care if CNN saying it, they're automatically taking the other side. They can't help themselves, because they're conservative, and so they said. Actually, most of the reporters on Fox said they're going to wait and see because they weren't really sure. Because a lot of the video hadn't been out yet, and so a lot of them said they're going to wait and see, but that they didn't agree. They didn't see any information that said he was a racist or any of that, and they actually are the ones that said he's a white kid who killed two white guys and injured another one.
Yeah,
Look
and
at
one of
this
those
kid.
white guys was allegedly a pedophile, convicted
Yeah,
child rapist.
this poor dude. They say, and then they say he was faking his crying and passing out. Now he's hugging this lawyer, man. He is just unbelievable that he's won this. And so I wonder if he'll carry a gun anymore.
I
Well,
would think after this, he's probably going to have to when he turns 21, he's going to have to get a concealed carry permit. His life is on the line now for winning this case.
yeah, but I haven't seen any stories yet saying about anything about the town being destroyed or anything like that going on. So far, it's just pretty much. I can't believe he won. You know what? While we're here, we got a few minutes yet. Let me see right quick. Let's go run over to NBC and see what they're saying. Since NBC loves us so much, let's see NBC News. NBC. I guess I should put it MSNBC, huh? Let's see. Yeah, let's do it that way. MSNBC. There we go. That's their internet version, right? There we go. Official site. Let's see. Kyle Rittenhouse self-defense case was solid. That's the problem. Oh, wait a
Oh
minute.
yeah,
Wait there, man. His case was good. Give me a freaking break, man.
how is that a problem?
Yes, the self-defense case was solid. That's the problem. Well, I know, but see, that just tells you right there that they want to say he's a racist, and
They wanted him to lose.
yeah, they wanted him to lose. They wanted this kid to go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like the one. Remember the one where the Indian? They said he was screaming at the Indian and caused trouble. And then we found out it was the other way around. So many of these liberals do this, and I don't understand how they keep getting away with it. They should be hardcore
They should
against
have
it.
their licenses pulled. I mean, we got these crappy fake news outlets like the Chive and Onion, and I think they work together. But a legitimate news source like NBC, CBS, CNN, any of them, if they lie and get caught in a lie, they should have their license to broadcast their fake media immediately. The FCC should pull their licensing.
It's yeah, I know they really should. I don't know how NBC has it. Let's see what NBC saying. For many, the verdict is an outrage and bizarre miscarriage of justice. Rittenhouse is a Blue Lives Matter enthusiast. Okay, he likes cops. Who went to protest against police shooting with a military-style rifle that he obtained illegally. That's not exactly true. He just was
That's
underage.
absolutely untrue. In
Yeah,
his state, at the age of 17, you are able to possess, not necessarily purchase, but like if your father
possession.
buys you a gun, a rifle, a long gun, you can have it.
Yeah. Then he falsely told people he was a medic. That's the first I've heard of that, and ended up killing and hurting people who felt threatened by him. Really? Again, you're a,
It's the
you're
other
a
way around.
big crowd of people. You're like 50 people, and you're coming after a guy with a gun. What do you think's going to happen? You can't even be that ignorant unless you're on crack or something or
Yeah.
meth. You just can't be that ignorant. And so you can't use that excuse you're trying to use here, MSC, because now you're saying everybody in the crowd was ignorant, which, well, I guess they were ignorant because two of them got killed.
Yeah.
Overwhelming, let's see, felt threatened by him. The overwhelming white jury appears to have given Rittenhouse the benefit of the doubt after a trial in which the judge Judge Times appeared to show favorable treatment of the defendant because he did. Y'all, because the prosecutor was cheating all over the place, like the thing not giving the right film, giving a grainy film so you couldn't see anything. That was cheesy on their part, and it was illegal. It's it's almost
Well,
because a black defender. Wait. So now they're going to bitch and say, well, it's almost impossible for a black defender who have done that to defend themselves. That's not true. Black people
that's
are
not
defend
true either.
themselves all the time for killing people who when they felt threatened. So don't try to do that. I can bring a couple of cases up.
Yeah.
That just tells me that you're ignorant and you don't know how to do research.
And one of the other things that the thing they've tried to bring up is that they felt threatened by him. How do you feel threatened by a kid who's running away from you with an assault rifle? When I saw some of those videos, it reminded me of the Frankenstein movies when the whole town gets all their pitchforks together and they try to chase the monster and everyone's rooting against the monster. Well, if the monster were to have turned around and killed the entire village, who would be in their right? The monster or the mob? So in this case, the mob is after the monster with this 17-year-old boy, mind you, not man. And until he falls on his face, does he start shooting people? He's in the first place. He's trying to get away from you. Then he falls. He turns. There's people on top of him. One with a gun. One that says "step on his face" or cranium him or whatever. And then he starts shooting. He is absolutely 100% in his right for self-defense.
He was, and see, NBC and them were trying to make a case why it wasn't self-defense. And when the guy went to go step on his face, it was self-defense.
Yeah.
And as far as him having the gun, that didn't encourage. It didn't even slow him down.
Yeah.
You can't see that he felt threatened because they came after you. They were coming after him before they even seen the gun. So I'm kind of like, yeah, but we'll try to lie and twist and see. All of this, though, is just going to help him in this lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
In an America that wasn't swimming in guns, this world would never happen. It's bullshit. You have the right to defend yourself, and you're never going to get stabbed to death. It doesn't matter. You have the right to defend yourself. Get over it. You know what, NBC? You lost even trying to cheat. You lost trying to change the verdict before it was given. You lost. Deal with it. You've been losing a lot lately, NBC. Right, and then wait, they've been whipping up to saying, "Oh, it's going to be riots." And no, it's not going to be riots because no black people got killed. It was just white people. I told you. I've said this for 10 years now. I started saying this under Obama. They're not going to riot if you kill white people. Only if you kill black people. Even that guy who ran the white person over, it was a white person ran another white person over at that rally.
Yeah,
they didn't riot about that. No.
Yeah. Why? Why should they? I mean,
now, what was
the only time you really see the really violent protests is when it appears to be an injustice of a white cop shooting a black person.
Yeah, then that's a whole different thing. Yeah, that's a whole different thing. So I mean, that's just the media. But the media's tried everything they do to could whip stuff up on this, and they just haven't been able to. And
yeah, I mean, they've even tried to trump up charges, well, not charges, but trump up the protestations against career black criminals fighting police officers and dying in the attack.
It's like the Lloyd Floyd or whatever his name was,
George Floyd.
Yeah, George Floyd. I was like, stop trying to make a hero out of a guy who spent most of his life. He was actually a 3-time loser. Down, he would have been in jail. He
was a career criminal, was he not? I mean,
yeah, and I mean, or it's like when the big old dude, when the cop killed that boy, that big old guy down in St. Louis or wherever it was. That was another one. They said, people say, oh, we seen him. He was walking with his hands up, and the cop shot him in the back. Whatever. One, you knew that wasn't true because the shots didn't enter there. And two, there was blood all over inside the squad car and all over the cop and him, which means it was close range, and the guy was inside the car trying to get his gun. So yeah, he got killed. But that's not what came out. And thank God it was some honest people, but they knew by the surrender, whatever you call it, forensics that that's not how it went down.
Mm-hmm.
But they also had some people come forward too, so there were some good people in the neighborhood. And none of the NBC and them didn't want to play the video where he's shoving the guy around in the convenience store. They didn't want to talk about that or the other crime he's been in. Oh no, he's just a poor black man shot by a white cop. See, they should be taken out for that. Everybody who reported that should have been fired.
Yeah. It's amazing how they want to defend career criminals, even if it was whether it was a white man or a black man, career criminal who they fight against the cops and they lose that battle. They die or they gets injured to the point where they're crippled for life. Hey, look, You are a career criminal. You decide to fight against a cop or a number of cops, and they beat the tar out of you. That's on you. That's not on the cop.
Yeah. People, and this NBC is a joke anyway. So NBC's gotten so bad that Rachel's leaving. Yeah, Rachel
Mm-hmm.
Maddow is leaving, and she ain't the
Not
only
just
one.
her. There's a couple of them leaving.
Yeah, the two biggest names there going. So either Morning Joe or what's his cheating girlfriend, wife, whatever she is now, is going to be the one. So liberals would go all if conservatives would have done this, and there was a couple, there was a man and a woman on a TV show together, and then all of a sudden they cheated together, and then they got married and stuff. If they were liberals, they'd be still hating on them because they were conservatives. It was okay. So NBC kind of promoted them to cheating on their spouses because they were both married at the time. Yeah, it's sad. People, what can I say? But they're losing a lot of good people. They're going to become almost as big a joke as CNN is these days.
Yeah.
Nobody takes CNN seriously. And I don't even know who watches them. I don't know anybody who watches. Every now and then I'll tune into them just to see what's going on, but nobody really watches them anymore.
Yeah, I haven't looked at CNN in probably 20 years.
Yeah, and look, I got hooked on CNN doing, what was it, Desert Storm, but after that, they became just a junk.
Yeah, the Desert Storm, I remember, and that's more than 20 years, but what was that guy? Wolf Blitzer, and then there were like two or three other reporters that were like in their hotel room when the poop hit the fan. And we got to watch the opening moments of that war of our F-17s, which you couldn't see because it was night vision video. But all you could see was like, it looked like Star Wars, all these laser shots, the what do you call it, tracer rounds, tracer anti-aircraft gun fire going up, try to shoot in our F-117s down. And we just knocked out their army, or not their army, their Air Force within the first 15 minutes. We won the war in 15 minutes by destroying their Air Force, which was mostly our equipment, by the way.
Yeah, it was mostly our equipment. The only one, so we got to worry about now. I guess we'll get a little time to get into this before we talk about anything else. There's a lot of tension. I shouldn't say there's a lot of tension between China and the United States. There is, but there isn't. So this is what we got. China really wants Taiwan back. I was thinking maybe America should say, "Well, you give us Hong Kong, we'll let you have Taiwan."
Yeah,
but Joe Biden got on TV the other day and said we would not allow Russia to invade China. I mean China to invade Taiwan. No, we couldn't stop them. We could go back over there and blow China out of there.
Yeah,
but we couldn't stop them immediately because China's so close to them.
They're right there.
So we'd have to. So and then they would say, well, maybe China will put a block around them so no food can get in. U.S. will run a block, and China knows it. They do it all the time down in South Pacific, and China and the United States is like, screw you, we're coming. They're within 2 miles of the island half the time. They're like, yeah, take a shot at us. We don't care. You got a bigger Navy. We got a better one. Much better one at that. I said, and then the guy started laughing. He said, well, how many aircraft
you can't see our Navy?
You're gonna wish you never opened that horn. And then I see some of the smaller NATO countries are building drone swarms now, like millions of them. So that if they try to invade, they just swarm them with drones. So it's going to be a different war this time, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But the point being is, you've got another problem here. So if you start a war between China and Russia, first thing we're going to do is blockade off China. They're going to starve to death. We're going to starve them out. And they are also going to use.
They're already hurting for food anyway.
Yeah. So the biggest problem with this is we're our two biggest trade partners. So any action that stops trade hurts both countries.
Mm-hmm.
So
but
now,
I think with our manufacturing, we'll be okay, but it'll take a while to get it back up and running.
Well, actually, it's a lot more up than you think. Thanks to Trump, there's quite a bit came back to the United States.
Yeah.
We pulled some stuff that we had in Taiwan out, some stuff. So, and then everybody forgets that we still have all the car plants and TV plants and stuff like that, and they can mass produce almost everything we need. So, and it's going to be hard to strike deep inside the United States without getting a shit blown out of you. And I don't think most Americans realize
be the tool trade, because most of our tools are made over in China. And
so, but the problem for China is they don't have any in-house resources. The United States has a lot. We can be energy efficient. Most of the minerals we need to build and start a war we can do right here in our house, or we can get from our trade partners in Canada and Mexico. So, when you look at the Americas as a whole, which the United States would be in a big war, we can get everything we need on this side of the world. We don't have to go on the other side. China, on the other hand, can't. China's topped by Russia, and Russia may help them and they may not. But they have to deal with Europe underneath them. So they always go, well, China's military is bigger. Yeah, well, it's bigger than the United States, but ours is better at both. I said, don't forget, people, we've been fighting wars for 50 years long. So
Yeah.
everybody in the military has got combat experience. That's going to be a big difference for pilots. When you go up against combat pilots and you're not, you're going to lose. And when you go up
But
against
yeah,
people, so one Marines is probably worth about 40 Chinese troops right now.
and there's a huge difference between combat ready and combat experienced.
Yeah,
There's a
so it's
huge difference.
there is, and well, because most people hesitate. Most people, just everyday people, Chinese American, who matter who you are, when you first go to shoot, sometimes a lot of times you will hesitate. Well, you're dead.
Yeah,
That's why in Vietnam they said rookies usually lasted about this. Sometimes on the front line 7 minutes.
yeah.
If they last minute made it a whole day, they figured they were going to be old timers. Um, that's how fast they were killing people there.
Yeah,
They
well,
were
and also in
operating.
Vietnam, the average age of the combat soldier was 19.
Yeah.
In World War II, the average age of the combat soldier was 21. So that 2 years difference of maturity, it really does. It makes a difference.
It makes a difference, and we've got so many trained combat pilots now that it's ridiculous. I mean, war veterans. These pilots have all seen action. So we got some of the most advanced aircraft on the planet, currently the advanced aircraft on the planet, and some of the best pilots to ever exist. And you want to go start a war with? It's not a good thing, but
Yeah,
it's not going to help us either.
and
You know,
listen, we're also flying the world's oldest advanced aircraft, the F-18 Hornet. It's
yeah.
still flying off of our carriers, but it's what 30-year-old technology.
Well,
It's
it's
still out
partly
there.
true. So the F-16 and the F-18, F-16 from Air Force. Okay, the only thing old about them anymore is the frames. Not even
Yeah,
the. Okay, so real quick, they replaced their engines with much better ass engines, both in the
yeah,
F-16 and the
and the
F-18,
weapons are different.
and then and they all got. I ain't gonna mention the system because I don't get sanctioned, but they got all these new systems. So when we did the F-22 Raptor and the F-35, we decided to put in systems so we can kill you without seeing you.
Yeah,
So right now, America and Russia and China, neither one have this. We can kill you from a far
five, six
distance.
miles.
Yeah. So you might think
Well,
you're
they
gonna.
had it with the F-15, but the F-15 has been since. I don't think they use it anymore. But yeah, they
The
can
Eagle, I
fire
don't
a
know what happened
missile
to the
at you
Eagle.
from
No, yeah,
five or
that's
six
right.
miles away. You won't even know it until it hits you.
And a lot of the Navy didn't want to retire the F-14 because it was the only plane they had that could do a straight vertical climb without stalling. They called it going ballistic. Well, what she did is when she went to go up, she'd sweep her wings all the way in. So
Yeah,
it was
so
just
that
like a
wings
missile
pulled
going
back.
straight up. Yeah, and she'd just haul ass up in the air. And for anybody trying to catch that, you're screwed. And then
Yeah.
she'd just drop back down and come back down on top of them and wipe them out.
Mhm.
It was a great plane. So was that Ford Phantom was another great plane. But, today's world, not so much. The F-35 is a badass plane. The F-22 to me is still a badass plane than the F-35. But
Well, F-32's got vertical takeoff and lift, so it can go straight
yeah,
up. It doesn't need a runway.
yeah. Well, they got them in versions. The F-35s can too. So they call them Harrier planes. So
Yeah.
like the old ones. Well, we still got some of the old ones flying around, but there are specific ones. So they usually when you see those, they belong to the Marines. Almost
Yeah.
always they
Well,
belong to
and
the
they
Marines.
don't call it vertical takeoff. They call it, what do they call it?
No, they got
Vector
another name
thrust.
for it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But and then for some reason, that's how they were all going to be built with the nozzles that moved. But then
Hmm.
for some reason, with some of them, they went straight. I'm not exactly sure why. What happened with that? I think the Air Force didn't want to pay the extra money for it because they don't need it. They always have
Well,
runways.
and they might have had problems in the process of it too. But
Well, no, the Navy's got them and the Marines have got them, but for some reason, the Air Force elected
well,
not to give
no, I
them.
think what you're talking about was that the F-22 was supposed to also have that vectored thrust on it. And it does to a
Yeah,
degree, but not to the point where it can take off straight from the ground. It's a short takeoff and lift, but it still needs to go
yeah, it's got to
the
roll up about
runway a bit.
20, 25, 50 feet or something.
Yeah,
Where
something like
the
that.
F-35 will just like the old Harrier will go
Yeah.
straight up. Now the F-35 will too, and they're fast planes, and nobody wants to talk about how fast they are. We always get things like, oh,
It's
Mach
top secret still.
2.5, Mach 3. My ass. I remember when the first time they told me, oh, well, the SR-71 does Mach 3. I'm like, no, it does Mach 6 or 7. They're
Mach
like,
6 or 7.
no, no, it does
Every
Mach
time it
3.
flies, it breaks its own records.
I know.
Every
Well,
time.
the first time I ever seen it, I was down in San Antonio, Texas. Went to go visit a friend of mine who was on B-52 watch. They got a big red ring around the B-52s, and they put a guard on each side with a machine gun. And if anybody crosses the line without permission, they get shot.
Yeah.
It's shoot on sight. So I went to go see him. He said, "Don't cross the line. I won't have to shoot you." And I'm not. And I just came to tell him where we were going to be. So when he got off duty, he could come find us. And one come over to base, and the nose clone. The only reason you could even see it, the whole nose clone, almost back to the co-pilot, was glowing red. I mean, which which means your exceeding speeds far over Mach 5 or 6.
Yeah.
At Mach 3, no plane nose glows at red. You got to
Yeah.
be doing something higher than that. And the only thing I seen even get closer to DARPA, I seen when DARPA broke its Mach 12 or Mach 13, it started to get a little glow in the front of the cone. So that's just a whole different type of craft. But yeah, the SR-71 was badass. Nobody's been able to shoot one down. And the Russians have shot plenty of missiles at them over the years, too.
Never got one.
Well, maybe now that China's got these new supersonic missiles, they're able to shoot one down. But I
Maybe.
doubt it. So the new one they got coming out is supposed to be 4 times as fast and completely stealthy. So that's what the guy said. He said, we're not worried about their hypersonic missiles. He said, why? He said, because they can't lock onto us. He said, they'll just go blowing right by. And in case you ought to notice, and even this is true for even the X-117 bomber, I mean, F-117 fighter and the B-2 bomber, they have ported heat, ported
exhaust.
ported exhaust, so it comes out cool and it's vectored out on an angle, so it doesn't attract it to the plane itself. It's very, very advanced shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then they all got this coating on them, so they don't show any heat or any radar imaging. The radar doesn't bounce back. See, that's what people don't understand. Most people didn't understand how radar works. Radar is just a wave that goes out, and when it hits something, it comes back. But it gives you the image of whatever it hits, so you know what it is. And these days, they don't even use that. They use signals, but still, the radar just goes out, bounces back, and comes back and lets you know there's something at X amount of height and X amount of miles. So you can go out and check it out if it's something you need to check on. But it's
yeah, but the panels on the F-117 are angled in such a way that when the radar hits it, it bounces away. It doesn't go back to the source. It bounces away, and it never gets back to its source. Therefore, they cannot find us.
And a good chunk of the waves absorbed by the paint.
Yeah,
it's absorbed.
There's the absorption too.
And then the new ones actually have something a little bit different than that. And it's like the A1 tanks, the M1A1s. They've got shielding on them that explodes out from the tank. So if a big round comes in and it pierces one of these boxes, that box explodes away from the tank. So it picks up the explosion and carries it away from the tank instead of letting it penetrate the tank itself. It's very advanced. But now, from what I heard, there's a new type of Avery coming out that has electronic shielding on it. It's like a repulsor field. It's hard enough that if a shell hits it, it just bounces off of it. So we'll see how that works out. Screw the Russians and Chinese if we come up with shielding. They're all screwed. We may nuke them. They better watch it. But that's the other thing with a war with China. It's a no-win situation. One, it'll wreck both of our economies. It'll wreck China's far more than it'll wreck ours, but it'll wreck both of them. China will start really getting hungry after about 2 months. After about 6, they will start starving. They will have people rebelling all over the place. More than likely, they'll try to invade Russia because Russia's an ally, but because they need the food. But even
they need
Russia,
the resources, yeah,
and Russia's not going to be able to supply them that food. They need to get their food from around the world. So 1.45 billion people, that's a lot of people to feed. And Japan proved it. During World War II, they were trading rice for guns because they had cut off the supply lines and people were starving to death. So it was rice for guns. And it's I don't know. I know China knows that, so China's not wanting to start a war. China wants to be rich and peaceful, really, is what China wants to be. But they also want what they want. They want the South Pacific and they want Taiwan. And I just don't know if the U.S. is ready to give that up yet. It puts us in a bad place, and I don't think we can do it. And somebody put a scenario out if they hit Taiwan, Japan, and a couple other of our bases down there, would the U.S. retaliate? I'm like, yeah,
probably.
Especially if you hit our bases on foreign soil, yeah, we're going to retaliate because you just kill people for no reason. There will be some strikes somewhere. We'll take out like those bases down there in the South. They're gone. They're gone. You can say goodnight to them bitches. They'll be gone. And we might nuke them just to show you that we're willing to use nukes. So you better watch it, China. And remember this, people. China's got a few nukes. Nothing like the United States has, though.
But not in the quantities anyway. But the other thing is that you brought up this segment with tension between us and China. How much is that trumped up? I mean, look at the Cold War. Russia versus America. It was trumped up. We were actually working together behind the scenes. The stuff up front with the Cold War was just fodder for the Americans and the Russian citizens to we hate Russia, we hate America. It meant nothing. We were working hand in hand behind the Iron Curtains together with Russia for the better good. And we still are, but people still have their biases.
Well, I know for the most part, War is a bad thing it's good for businesses, bad for the world.
There's a few good
And
things that come out of it, but there's a lot of terrible that you got to go through to get to them. I mean, you get better
yeah,
technology, you get better health. So there, like during Korea, the Korean War, a lot of really fantastic medical procedures came out of that because they're patching blown up soldiers in the middle of a battlefield in these mass units, and Neosporin came from that. I forget what they used for. It might have been penicillin what they used for the malaria that everybody was getting, but they also found out if you don't have penicillin to treat your soldier with malaria, you know what they gave them? Gin and tonic.
that,
Tonic water kills malaria. So
there you go. That works. Mr. Ping, I know you like listening to this show. I just want to tell you, I know you want peace and love and happiness, but dude, if you take Taiwan, Biden might accidentally fall on the button, when he just
yeah,
falls asleep. Yeah, let me see this report from Bloom, and then there you're going. I'll tell you exactly what will happen, ladies and gentlemen, if China does something stupid like that. The next morning, 10 nuclear subs will pop up around China, surrounding its whole country, and we'll say the same thing. You have 5 minutes to remove your troops, or we will remove them for you. And while we're doing it, we're going to go ahead and remove the rest of your military. And you're not going to be able to do anything about it because one thing that China learned the last time. So two presidents have already done this. I think you got to go back to it was either Reagan or Bush did it. They sent 4 nuclear submarines. They put 4 of them around the country. And I forgot what China was doing, and then they brought them up and they showed them to them. Look, there's nothing you could do. It would be in Beijing in less than 5 minutes. At 500 feet, you can't even shoot it down.
you
It
can't. You
doesn't
can't
matter.
even
It doesn't even matter
evacuate.
if you got It doesn't matter if you've got hypersonic missiles. It's not going to help you to shoot these out. And these are multi warheads. So if they detect something coming, they're just going to shoot their warheads out. And well, guess what? So I mean, it's not something. It's really a no-win situation for them more than it is for us. But the problem for us is we can't nuke China for one simple reason: we share their trade winds. They can't nuke us for the same damn reason.
We're too
We're not
reliant
going
on
to.
each other.
Well,
It's
it's not that though. I mean, if you nuke one, people forget. Remember the red dust, ladies and gentlemen. Remember the Chinese red dust that covered the country 3 years in a row. That should tell you something. So if that was radiation fallout, guess what? That would have been radiation all over your cars, your dogs, your food, and everything else. It's just we can't win like this. We'd have to have a way to block it out or a way to take out their nukes before we did anything, and they would have to have the same thing. And since we've got 6,000 nukes, 5,000 nukes on missiles, and I think another 4 or 5,000 warheads stored, it's not going to happen.
it's not good. And plus, we have systems up in space that can knock their stuff out of. Maybe
Oh,
not their
you
new
see,
hypersonic, but most of their missiles are not hypersonic. We can
no,
knock
they're
them out
not.
before they even get to
Well,
us.
well, Russia's working on hypersonic. We've got 1 or 2, but they're still working on ours. Supposedly, China's got a few of them now. And China wants to arm them with nuclear warheads. That's what they're trying to do, so they can't be shot down. China's hypersonic missiles was a thing to get through our defense shields because more and more our shields, thanks to Israel, we've been trying them out in Israel for 3 decades now, have become pretty damn advanced. But China, what you forgot about is the United States has been working a 2-tier system, 3 different types of missile defense shields and 3 different types of laser shields. So I do know the one that goes aboard the plane is operational. So there's one that flies around, does a figure eight over the United States that has a hot laser on board, and it just shoots down. It can shoot down up to 3,000 targets a minute. So it's
Wow.
I don't know if it can shoot that many lasers. I don't know how well if it's a chemical or electronic laser. So they're not talking about that. We also have something based in space. We know that because just recently the Russians have something based in space that kills satellites. And for some reason or another, it must have got too close to one of ours, and the United States warned them off, or they would be destroyed. The Russians put that out. So obviously, we have something in space that can blow shit up. And then there's a ground-based laser system. So there's a 3-tier missile system. One of the missile systems is designed. It goes up. It's a direct impact system, so it heads for the missile and hits it directly and explodes. There's another one that's a low yield tactical nuke. It's designed for if a warhead comes into our atmosphere with multiple warheads and it spreads, it opens, this thing can explode in the middle and wipe them all out, and we don't have to be hit. And then there's another one that has it explodes near the missiles, and it's like a debris missile that sends shit out flying all over the place. So we're deploying those around the United States, and DC and a few other places already have them. And then, of course, we don't know what's going on with the lasers because nobody tells us anymore. And we were getting some pretty good updates from all the way up into the middle of Bush's regime, and then it went away. So it was kind of
Well,
strange.
Are you also aware of? I don't know if you've seen the STS-48 video where there's like a particle beam shot up from like either Australia or New Zealand
Yeah,
at a
that's probably
UFO
from
in
Pine
space.
Cap. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a missile. Missiles don't move that fast. We
No.
have technologies that would, if they when they come out from the public, that everyone's going to be like, "Wow, we've got Star Trek
Well,
technologies."
well,
You know?
somehow or another. Well, I forgot which lab was. I think it was all Los Alamos got in trouble because we thought that Star War lasers when Reagan left and Clinton came in, we thought they got shelved. Come to find out, some of them were put in space, and some of them were used. They were superheating discs and shooting them into space to see if they could make a craft and launch it from the ground like that and get it into space and then have an engine that flies in space without having to have. Well, it worked. Then all of a sudden, boom, they got sanctioned. And you never heard another word about any of this technology. Even to this day, you haven't heard any words about just
Mhm.
what happened to these lasers, what was going on. But the lasers that were built for Star Wars were interesting. They were entirely too big to shoot down missiles. I don't know what they were made for. Maybe shooting at craft, maybe shooting at cities. I don't know, but
Yeah,
they were big,
but
way, way too
non-moving
big.
targets.
Yeah, and some of these discs that they were hitting up and shooting into space weighed up to 50 tons. So it was made like a disc, and it had vents on it. And the laser would just get in the center until it heated up, and up into space it went. It was interesting technology. Glenda asked me the other day about space elevators. I don't know, people. It's maybe, maybe not. Well, think of it this way. So we put space elevators all around the world. We're going up and down space. Great, great thing. What happens if something like the planet shifts or something happens and they
Yeah,
snap? You know what happens? That big thing going up to space is going to fall and it's
you've
going
got
to
something
crush
that's going what
everything under.
14 miles from the planet. Come on, it can't be stable enough. It's going to snap halfway up.
And then it's going to fall, 12 miles. This cable is going to come crashing down on everybody.
Yeah, and maybe it hits the center of a city and kills the 20 people on board, and then 1,000 people in the city.
Yeah, it's
It's
just,
a non-viable technology.
yeah, I don't know how you're going to do it. If the planet didn't move, I could see it. But I
I
don't
mean,
know.
the only way is to have a anti-gravity elevator car that doesn't need a cable, doesn't need a tube, doesn't need some sort of structure to hang on to or use for stability. And then what is that? What have you got? If it's a non-structured elevator car with anti-gravity engines, you've got a spaceship.
Well, I was watching them. They were using electric magnets to shoot these big, heavy missile-looking things into space. They were, I guess, another way of trying to get. Because our biggest problem is getting something into space. Once we get into space, we can build engines that go pretty damn fast.
Yeah,
I know
there's
most
lots of training
scientists
to do
think.
that.
Well, most scientists today believe we can build engines to do at least half light speed. Well, at half light speed, Mars is only a 2 month trip, guys. Boom.
No,
It
that's
might,
two. Oh yeah, you're right. It's 2 years with a solid fuel,
yeah, and
but 2 months without.
yeah, so it just the fastest we could get on a conventional rocket to Mars is 9 months. That's the fastest I've ever heard anybody talk about. But they've been talking about new drives that should be able to get us there in under 2 months. Elon Musk is actually working on some of these too because Elon wants to. His words, he wants to build his own community and die on Mars.
Wow. Well, I mean, there's also allegedly the CIA has that Aurora space plane that can allegedly go from here to the moon and back in 8 hours, a 4 hour one-way trip, 8 hour round trip. And how long did it take the Apollo missions? 4 days
Yeah,
to get
4
there.
years.
4 days
Yeah,
back, 4 days there, 8 day trip.
it's well, I've already confirmed the existence of the Aurora. And I have confirmed the existence of at least some of the TR-3Bs.
Mm-hmm.
The Aurora was interesting to me because, like I said, I was in Stevensville working press. I'd been invited down for the all women's conference, and I came down, and I'm just doing the press, the whole 9 yards. And so Joe's with me. Joe and Jason's with me actually. So we go out to the place where it happened. So they got a big party going out there. Well, a big gathering, some beer drinking, some bonfires, and we're talking about how it happened and where they were. So Joe's got the camera. Joe's really good about this. He just kind of slides around and gets shit, and people just kind of ignore him for some reason. So he's sitting there and he's listening to these guys, and I'm sitting there listening to these guys, and I'm drinking a beer with one of our regulars, and I hear a guy say, "Yeah, you can see the rivets running along the bottom." I said, "Wait, rivets?" I'm like, "What rivets? There ain't no spacecraft coming here from outer space has got rivets on it." And then they talked about how it had this sleek side where it looks like it had something to kind of edge over the rivets. And I was like, rivets, it still bothered me. Then he said about the engines. And when he said about the double rows of 8 engines turning white, I realized it was an Aurora. Because I had somebody already tell me about the engines from inside of Boeing. And they said, if you ever see this, this is what it is. And then I found that there was chase planes. MUFON left all of this out. All of this.
Mm-hmm.
When they did their report, there was nothing about rivets. There was nothing about chase planes. Oh, they said, well, was it squadron F-16s were flying that night and they didn't give a shit. Well, I guess they didn't because this was ours. If there was chase planes with it, it was ours.
Yeah, I mean, almost every Air Force project, top secret or otherwise, they had to build a chase plane in order to film the thing in flight to make sure that the control surfaces worked and whatever not. The U-51, the first one had that. Yeah. The S-471 had that. The F-117 had that. The Bell X-1 had chase planes. Every single experimental plane they have to beef up some sort of X fighter plane to follow this thing while they test it in flight.
And that made sense to me. That's what F-16 squadrons ignored because they knew what it was. But they didn't. All they knew was a test flight of some kind. Mm-hmm. And for them not to scramble F-16s because the thing was headed towards George Bush's ranch, you would have thought. But they weren't even interested in it. So after hearing all this, I called a friend of mine who's in we'll just say she's a big wig for Boeing and leave it at that. And so I give her a call, and I'm like, I'm gonna send you over some tape or some audio of this conversation and call me back in a couple of days. So I send it over. She calls me back in an hour. She said, oh, yeah. And she said, because I got clearance. She said, I'll tell you what it is because I can't get in trouble because we both got high enough clearances. She said, it's an Aurora. She said she even knew which one it was. They had a name for it and everything, which I can't say, but they had a name for it and everything. I was like, what? And she said, yeah, it's been flying for about 5 years. It was the second prototype test craft. She said they're building 3 of them that are not test craft. And she said they are space capable at higher than, I think she said it would be 40 times faster than the fastest thing we've put into space so far. And she said what it was, but I forgot. But it sounded like maybe 15% light speed, 20% light speed, much faster than anything else we had. But still would get you to Mars pretty fast, get you out. It'd still be like Jupiter's moons would still be like a 16-month trip. I'm sorry. 4-year trip, 5-year trip. Sorry, I got confused, people. Jupiter's 2 light years out. Damn, I don't know why I couldn't spin that out.
Yeah,
or almost 2 light years.
2001 Space Odyssey, it took them 2 years with that technology. But I'll tell you one thing: who's a good whistleblower on top secret experimental aircraft? You're going to freak when I tell you who it is. Mm-hmm. It's a toy company. Revel Models. They came out with a number one. They came out with one of the first stealth planes, which they thought was going to be the F-117, but the model itself was actually a redo of the Buck Rogers space plane from the TV show, done in black. Okay, you know what it was? It was that was actually one of the Have Blue working models that Buck Rogers had on TV. So they remodeled that as the F-117, but it was actually a Have Blue project, which F-117s came from. They also had a model for the Aurora space jet. They had SR-71 before it became public. They had they've come out with Bob Lazar's little sports UFO model and several other planes that the jump jet. I saw it unveiled in like the 80s when I was a kid at Andrews Air Force Base, but a year or two before that, it's already a model kit by Revel. So, I mean, I don't know where they're getting their information, but they're revealing top secret experimental aircraft before it's come out.
Well, some of the designers might do cross because, just like Mattel and them used to do work for the military. People don't realize that, but a couple of the toy companies did.
Yeah. They got to have insiders.
Well, yeah, they had people that did specialty work for them. Lucas, it doesn't take a rocket science to know Biden's weak. Yeah, we already know that.
Yeah.
States getting the most money for the infrastructure bill are Texas, New York, and California. I could have told you that without reading that. New York's get salt tax, break billions for whatever. Y'all are crazy.
Salt tax, what? It's for the roads?
I guess. It's Oh, I seen that article about the chick from Mandalorian. She's doing well. She's got her own gig going and all. I don't know why they fired her for that. I mean, if you fire me for a Facebook post, it better be a recent one because you don't know who 20 years ago if I'm the same person I am today. That's just
Yeah.
ignorant. Um, oh, you mean I couldn't go to work for a liberal company? I don't know if I could go to work for a conservative company for some of the shit I say. They'd be like, no, we don't want that guy here. He might go crazy on us.
Well, I mean, there's been several other people who've been fired for things they said, even though they weren't being mean or derogatory or even racist. Jimmy the Greek, football, play-by-play guy, he was fired for something he said about black athletes. He didn't lie and he didn't use the N-word. He wasn't derogatory. He was just absolutely regurgitating history, real history, like factual history, and they fired him for what he said. And there's others as well that they say the wrong thing, even though it's not intentionally racist or intentionally derogatory or intentionally mean, but the networks say, "Oh, we can't have that. You're gone."
Yeah, it's just who sent me this? Oh, Democrats love vigilantes when it's BLM or Antifa. They're vigilantes when it's BLM or Antifa. Well, I guess BLM and Antifa didn't feel like going out to riot out in the thing.
Yeah, to write about Rittenhouse, no, that's a good thing.
You're talking about critical race theory. How much time? You got about 5 minutes. Oh man, that's what turned all the middle class moms against Biden. It's one of the things, actually. Yeah, because if you go read it, I'm not going to get into it tonight, but we don't have time. But if you go read it, you'll know why. He has no business in any school anywhere. Yeah,
It was
I would
basically,
suggest.
from what I understand, it was brought up as an electoral, thing in college to earn money for the college because you got to pay for that class, and even then, it doesn't belong there. It's theory, not fact.
Yeah, it is not fact. It's a what's her name? Jenny Piskey calls Harris's role as acting president a chapter in history of the
Please,
25th Amendment. What?
not even a paragraph in history. Get rid of it.
And I still think it cheated out the first woman president. Unless it's her, I think whoever gets it gets cheated because now they're not going to be the first woman president. They're going to be the first one elected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, President Biden under serious scrutiny for overpass White House comments. Yeah, dude, you're in trouble for that. You might as well know that. It's Joe Biden and Megyn Kelly among public figures reacting to the Rittenhouse verdict. Biden, you should shut up. You're in enough trouble as it is.
And I wonder how incoherent he is going to be in his opinion of the Rittenhouse verdict.
Oh, that's true too. It's and these people were serious. They delivered, but they said what they did was they went by the letter of the law, and the judge told them pretty good what it was, and they went and looked it up themselves and found it out, and said no, he had the right to protect himself, self defense.
Well,
And that's
what surprised me about the whole thing was that once the judge started dropping charges, particularly the gun charges, it's like, why didn't he just drop the whole thing? Because there was no way to win. The prosecution shouldn't have brought this case because there was no way to win. Not even a chance in hell. A snowball in hell would have had a better chance of making it.
and what they said. Well, there wasn't enough black people. Well, I don't think it would have made a difference. And it wasn't an all white jury; it was a majority white jury. But still, I don't think it would have made any difference. I think the verdict would have been the same thing.
It could have been all Hispanic, all Asian, all black jury. He still would have gotten off.
Yeah, because the media keeps trying to paint a narrative that this kid killed some black people or something. That's not what on, and they're still trying to do it. But I guess when his lawyers gets on, their lawyers are smelling blood in the water right now. I heard them talking about it this afternoon. They're smelling blood in the water. They're going after all of them. Biden crime campaign promises has Baltimoreans telling leaders to do something else. Uh, what's the matter? Y'all defunded the cops? Now you got too much crime? People getting robbed in the cars and shit?
It's known as the heroin capital of the country. Baltimore is. It's not far from me. It's an hour away. Hour and a half, maybe.
Oh, it's going to be strange. Why is the left ignoring Biden's decline? Because they don't know what to do. Harris sees a lot more work to do after a Rittenhouse verdict. Whatever. Hey guys, well it was yeah, whatever, Harris. I see you keeping that mask on since your redheaded friend over there got COVID.
Yeah, and why isn't
Well,
she like held up at home for 12, for 14 days like the rest of us?
yeah, it's oh wait. So if you read this from three different news sources, it comes out three different ways. But Build Back Build Back Better Act was passed for the people. What people? I've already seen some of the stuff, and it has nothing to do with people. It's more about paying back rich Democrat friends than it is the
Yeah,
people. Oh, you mean the girl from Mandalorian? Yeah, the article's posted. I think it was I seen it on Yahoo or NSNBC. No, or MSN. Actually, I think is where I seen it. Brief: Biden Harris Powell's transfer is historic. Yeah, Biden and Rittenhouse. I stand by what the jury says. Concluded. Whoa, wait, what?
when?
Wait, what? Biden on the Rittenhouse thing. I stand by what the jury has concluded. Yeah, because you know what you said was wrong. You're going to get sued.
Yeah, but that quick of a contraction, he can still
Wait,
be
wait,
sued.
it says weighing in on the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict on December 9th, President Biden says the jury system works and we have to abide by it. Holy crap moly, I'm just floored. I'm about to fall out
That's
my chair.
that's not him. That's one of his speechwriters. He didn't say that. Somebody handed him a card and said, "Here, read
Uh,
this."
Joe, Democrats can go to town hall meetings and talk about what they've done wrong. Oh, that's Joe, whatever it is, Coffee Joe or the queer boy. People, when I say queer, I don't mean like as in being gay or something. I mean as being queer. Queer was a
Queers and being
co-opted
weird.
word. Yeah, queer is a co-opted word that the gay community uses. But
Yeah,
and gay is another co-opted word, by the way. Gay means happy. It doesn't mean. Yeah,
it
anyway,
does.
we're gonna leave that alone before people start writing into us. But anyway, guys, I know we got to get out of here. We crossed a good bit of news tonight. I would check into a lot of stuff we were talking about. You need to see what's going on in the country. Um, Paula has so Kamala Harris had one way of talking about the Rittenhouse, and Biden went the other way. Yeah, she served 85 minutes as president. Oh my God, the world is coming to an end. Xi Jinping was probably hiding under his freaking desk. He's like, oh, they let the crazy bitch in front of the White House.
Where was Putin? I'll bet he was hiding somewhere too.
Yeah, he's Putin. But you know, it's what people don't understand when they talk about all these wars and stuff and all this stuff. Biden's pardoning the Thanksgiving turkey. Man, you need to eat that big boy. Democrats, yays could cost party seats next November. Yep, Democrat yays could cost party seats next November. It's going to. They've been telling the House members, you better quit falling in line with Nancy. You're going to lose your position. They just ain't listening. White House responds to uh, White House position. Like we care what the White House has to say.
What does the White House's opinion matter? It's the judge's opinion is what matters.
Kamala Harris becomes the first woman in history to hold presidential powers. Whatever. That's such a bullshit.
For what, 85 minutes?
Yeah, that's such a bullshit. Not surprised that Chicago legal experts analyze Rittenhouse verdict. Yeah, well, who cares about Chicago?
Who's one of those Chicago experts in law? Was that Obama? Come on, he didn't even have a license to legally practice anymore.
Anti vaccine protesters outrage after committee votes to accept federal funds or whatever. Jesse Waters, well, he's another whack job. Yeah, left is losing their mind over it. As violent crime rises in the city, D.C. Mayor Chief look to recruit more police. Oh, wait. What do you mean you want to recruit more cops? You said that, oh, no, sweetheart. You said that we need to defund the cops.
Yep. Nope. It's a shocking.
Portland.
They defund the police and then the crime goes up. I mean, how is that not directly proportional? I mean, you stop putting cops on the road. Guess what happens? Crime goes up. You put more cops on the road, crime goes down. They're directly proportional to each other.
Portland police prepare for protests in wake of Rittenhouse verdict. Really? Why? It wasn't even in Portland. What the hell? Yeah, we don't care about that. Margaret Bennett on social spending bill, U.S. inflation. So, I mean, inflation. I was listening to John Kennedy when he was talking about it. A lot of stuff. Gas is up 50%. There's a lot of stuff up 50%, but most of the small, like food stuff, all of them are 7 to 12%. Where do you expect us to get this extra money from?
Well, we talked about earlier in the show. I said that in my department, in my home improvement store, that electrical conduit, half-inch, 10-foot plastic electrical conduit went from $1.52 a stick to I think it's $6.36 now. What is that? That's more than 50%. That's 200 or 300% increase in price just because they turned off that damn pipeline.
Joe Biden's only good news is that Kamila Harris polling numbers is worse than hers.
And we're surprised why?
Yeah, I'm not really surprised, but still. Democrats say Build Back Better will give local families needed services while Republicans call it socialist.
Anything they don't like, they call socialist.
Well, I mean, I don't know if this bill still got in there where they go get to look at your checking account if you spend $600. I mean,
that's not socialist. That's Nazi. Well, I guess, okay, yeah, that is socialism. Never mind.
But I'm just saying, I mean, most Americans are going to spend that just on their house note or their car note or their insurance or something. But you know what that started out as? They wanted to get looking at Cash App and Venmo and Zelle and all that because a lot of people are moving money that way. And they say a lot of drugs are being moved like that, which is probably being true. But that does still don't give you the right to go look at people's checking accounts. That's just no, man. That's not that's socialism.
They still need to get a warrant by a federal judge to obtain your legal records, especially your bank records.
I guess stupid Blasio must have came out and said something dumb. Leo Terrell blast de Blasio over response to Rittenhouse verdict. I can only imagine what nut job said. But anyway, guys and girls, I know we got to get out of here because it's 20 after now. So we kind of late. Please, people, don't send me nothing with Morning Joe in it. He's the biggest moron on television. I'm so embarrassed to have a name of Joe right now with him on and Biden around. Oh, my God. It's like, let me change my name. I'm going to change it to Jack or maybe Jacqueline or some shit. I have no idea. But anything but this.
Jay's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's my brother's name. My oldest brother's name's Jay. My youngest brother's
cool. Well, he's in good company.
Yeah, wait, and technically we're all Josephs. So we just, I use Joey or Joseph, or actually my son used Joseph. I use Joe and Jay uses Jay, and but he'd use Joseph too. It's a weird thing in our family. I don't know how it started, but about 1,400, 1,500 years now, all the male children were born Aquarius and they're named Joseph. It's a weird fucking thing. Ooh, excuse my lane. Beep, 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 beep. I hope the beeper caught that. Yeah, Roberts, I agree they're idiots. What to do with UFOs? We're not just Nash. It's a centralist radio show. It's about news, dude. If you want to hear UFOs, come on Wednesday night. Oh, yeah, that's always good stuff.
Should have been on a couple hours ago with Jeff. We were talking about UFOs and Bigfoot.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of good information about UFOs right now. But I mean, UFO only means unidentified flying object, which at any given night I can walk out my backyard and say UFO because I don't know what the hell it is.
I know it's a plane. I know what kind of plane. It could be military. It could be United Airlines. Could be private jet. You don't know, but it's still unidentified at night.
Yeah. Now, you can do like I do. I have airport monitors. So I monitor all flights out of the airports around here, and I'll even go back when I can do it in live time. I can go back 1 year. It tells you if it's military flights, commercial flights, private flights. It tells you where to go. Well, the military flights, it don't tell you if they're classified, but it does tell you it's a military flight. And if you have that and J-Track, where you can track the satellites, you can always rule out if it's a plane or a satellite or something like that. So that only leaves you with naturally occurring events or hoaxes or the real thing.
Or an actual UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon, which is the newer preferred term.
If you've seen a UFO, you have been probed. That's all I'm telling
you. Yes.
You have been taken. People who, and that's why you don't see as many people seeing them because only people who get taken see the damn things.
I think we scared Jeffrey tonight because between me and Jesus Payan Jr., we had on the show, we think we have convinced Jeff that he's been abducted, and so God knows what kind of pressure that's put on the poor man.
Yeah, he's probably been abducted. He might have been sold into slavery, and they say, you know what? He's too hard-headed. Send him back. give me my rubles back, baby. My quatrains. Mm-hmm. People. Before anybody writes to me, quatrains is off of a famous sci-fi
Star Trek, Gamesters of Triskelion.
Yes, it's exactly what it is. Yes, it's the old Star Trek. Yeah, with Captain Kirk and Spock,
the original series.
Where Kirk has to kiss a woman every show. I gotta say, I was watching Andromeda. Dylan kisses with far more women than Kirk did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And and we were watching something else, and I was like, Jesus, I forgot what it was. I said, oh man, I can't remember the show now. I said, man, Kirkman would be jealous as much as this guy gets laid. It's another sci-fi show. I just can't remember what it is. Well, the good guy always gets the girl. What's the matter with you
Yeah.
people?
He also
Or
gets
if
his
it's
shirt ripped every other episode.
yeah, that's true. But if it's a girl, she gets the guy. So yeah, I'm just teasing people. But we got to go anyway because I know Kathy Belsey's on with Quantum Leap, so y'all be sure to check her out. Any moans, groans, bitches, and complaints, write to Jay because you know what I'm gonna tell y'all. So, uh, you know what I'm gonna tell y'all. Okay. But anyway, no, we're just getting up. We're redesigning the show right now, so we're reformatting how we're going to be doing the news. So just hang out. We change a little bit every week on how things are being done, but we just want to make sure y'all get the real news without too much opinion. We like to talk about what we're talking about, but we want you to hear the story for what the story is, and then you can pay attention to the Jesus, my brain is going, man.
To the bottom line of the story, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, yeah. Well, if you want to listen to, because we're going to share our opinions with you, but we want you to really hear the story for what the story is. That's why you've been hearing us read tonight, because we want you to hear the story how it's printed, and then we'll discuss and tell you our opinions on whatever the story is, and go from there. And
Yeah, and I think, Joe, we're gonna have to file a missing persons report
yeah,
against
no.
Michael in 3 weeks.
Well, he told me. I talked to him the other day about it. He said what's happening that it's so late. He said by the time he gets off work and eats, he said, man, he said I eat and I stretch out. Next thing I know, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. And
uh,
I can understand it. He's an old bastard working his ass off.
he ain't as
So
old as me.
that's true. He is younger than us too.
Yeah.
But we still have to call him Kitty, man. Hey kid, what's up, kid?
Yep.
You little youngster, what you whining about? Well, I give a couple of hosts on Network Trouble because they there's two hosts that for some reason can't seem to stay up past like 10 o'clock. I'm like, and they're not that old. I mean, I'm older than them. And I said I'll be up good to 3-4 o'clock in the morning. I got
Yeah.
up at 6 this morning.
Yeah. And you get up at 5 or 6 in the morning. I got up
Yeah,
at like 8 or 9 this morning, but
yeah,
and
that's
then went back
still.
to sleep. So
Well, I do that when I'm off. Like I'll sleep a good chunk of this weekend. I got to go get a flu shot tomorrow, which I'm not exactly happy
oh
about. But
yuck.
oh, my wife talks me into the last couple of years. I'm like, as if it makes you feel better. Can't believe I'm gonna waste a whole weekend before. Oh, but Thanksgiving's coming. I'm like, yeah, yeah. But I was talking, but I've been listening about the Pfizer and Moderna stuff, but I haven't done it. Not talking about Johnson getting boosters, and they keep saying, "Oh, mix and match." I've asked 4 different doctors that I'm seeing, right, from my cardiologist to my regular doctor, and they all said the same thing. Have I ever told you to mix and match medicines, Joe? I'm not going to start telling you that now either. They're like, that's the stupidest thing they ever heard. He said, they don't know. I mean, unless the two medicines are identical, he said, I'm not going to tell you to mix and match. I don't even know how the Pfizer is going to react to the Moderna. I guess that's what they're
Yeah.
trying to find out.
They could fight each other and in the process hurt you.
And then they said, well, the Johnson people can get the Pfizer. No way, buddy. I'm not doing that. That's the whole reason I went with Johnson beginning because it's regular technology. And what?
And it's a
So
one shot. You don't have. There's no booster. There's no second shot.
yeah, that's so far they haven't. They said they were going to do one, but it seems like not. Johnson said that the rate of in the body is still around 65%, so they don't see any reason to have a booster shot. He said this should go a year or two without having to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also see I got one of my good liberal friends the other day. He's oh wow, these unvaccinated this and then everybody. I said, dude, think of it this way. I said let's look at Florida. I said Florida, about 62% of people have been vaccinated. About 30% of people have gotten COVID. So that means only 8% are unvaccinated. I said, no, them 30. I said, no, they have antibodies from having COVID. So technically they are vaccinated. They're actually vaccinated better than you are.
Yeah, the
I
natural
said,
the natural
so I
immunity
said,
is better, and they've even been saying recently in the news that a natural immunity from getting the COVID is going to last you the rest of your life. It isn't going to like last 2 years like they're saying. It will
yeah,
last you
so,
the rest of your
so,
life.
so my point is, we're being lied to. We're always saying, oh, it's only, so you only count the booster shots, but not the people who's had it. You need to count the people who's had it too. And that's going to put the country at a lot higher rate. And right now it's whipping through the north and it might head out west, if it's out west, it'd be done by April is all I got to ask.
Well, I
First week
mean,
of
if you've
April,
noticed over the last year, we're going on the second year now. All the spikes in COVID uh, um, uh, outbreaks during the colder months. When it's warm outside, all the outbreaks drop dramatically because they've been saying all the time that the COVID does not like warmth.
well, most of them don't, but we'll see how it goes. But anyway, we got to get guys and girls. Y'all be sure to check out Kathy Belsky on Quantum Leap. She's up and running right now. Jay and I got to check out. I got to go get some cake I got one of the. Ooh, I got some good cake with the fruit in it and stuff, and all that really fancy icing. Oh, it's not icing; it's like cream or something. Oh, God, whatever it is,
Oh, yum.
it's horribly good. But anyway, I want to thank everyone for tuning into the Centralist tonight. We had a lot of fun. Any moans, but if you got some stories you want to hear, if you got some research you want to share, be sure to send it over to iCrackCox.net. Next week, it won't be the Centralist. We're going to be doing, we're going to have John Goodman on. We're going to be talking about writers of the future. Jeff, if you're around, you're welcome to come hang out. Be
I
nice
should be
people to
around.
have
Yeah.
down because I know Jeffrey likes doing authors, and there's a lot of them. But we're going to be going through some of the good books, some of the L. Ron Hubbard stuff, and some of the other books. And there'll be some given away. I'm going to be giving these away pretty soon too. Let me show you all these. This was the latest edition. This is Writers of the Future. This is from
Oh,
the last group of winners. This is 37. There's 12 good stories in here, and all the artwork that goes along with it. And the artwork comes with it. Let me see. So, I don't know if y'all can see that or not. That's some of the artwork that's in the book. Well, let's get where y'all can see it. But anyway, there's artwork all throughout the book. Each story has its own artwork. See, like this, these are. That's a better way of looking at it.
nice.
So they all represent the stories and stuff like that. So there's a lot of that stuff throughout the whole book that you can see. Here's another one, let's see. And so what happened was, so the writer wrote the book, and then an artist picked it and did the artwork, and they didn't know who it was until they actually seen the artwork. So they did the big reveal where the artist met the illustrators. And you know what? Most of them got the illustrator right off the bat who it was. They knew the work when they seen it. They knew it was about their book. Very interesting. I'm also going to be giving away 2 signed copies, one of 36 and one of 37, with all of the writers, illustrators, and all the big judges and all the big other people who were there will also be signed in those books. But the one I'm going to auction off is the program guide for the big event because everybody's signatures on it. It's the only one of its kind. It has big names on it. It has all the new people on it. It has all the winners on it. It's a one of a kind. So we're going to auction it off because we're going to start giving books out to some of the local schools. So we're going to probably start doing about 2-3 auctions a year. Well, we'll bring in $3,000 or $4,000, $5,000, and we'll get either one of the local businesses or somebody else to match it, and then we'll put these books in these schools. Because well, some of the schools I got with, or actually with some school boards I got with, asked if they had audio books. They do. They even have pads that have like 3,000 stories on them and stuff, or like 700 stories on them and stuff. So they're going to have all of that. We're going to be giving away. We're going to auction. Like I said, we're going to be auctioning this off so we can help with the local schools to get these in their schools, because libraries need to have something fun to read.
It
And
can't all be news and current events. Yeah.
well, it also helps in younger schools and all. It also helps for people to develop a liking sci-fi, but it also helps them to get liking reading. So
Yeah.
that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to get in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama where they want to read more. That's all. We want to help influence the kids in reading. And give them something fun to read or help them to read. But anyway, we got to go. Thanks again for tuning into the Central. We had Jay McNichols with us tonight. He helps Jeffrey out on the Church of Mavis. Poor Jeffrey looks stressed out of his mind, but he's going to be okay.
He's going through a rough time right now.
Yeah, he's like a rubber ball though, man. He just bounces around until he's good again. He lands in the hole. Jay's there with him, and Jay's been helping us out on Fridays night. We've been having a good time, but we got to go, guys. Again, I know I keep saying that, but we're going to go. So good night, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. Have a lot of fun. Don't get arrested, people.
Happy Thanksgiving.
I was going to say, oh yeah, because I'm not going to see you out till Friday. Save me some turkey, or send me some turkey. People tell me all the time, "Can you send me food?" I said, "Well, yeah, as long as you're not planning on killing me, feel free."
You're right.
Now, if you plan on killing me, don't send me no food. Okay, send it to one of my enemies. That would work better.
Yes.
Send it to somebody I don't like or something. Yeah, or eat it yourself. That works.
Send it to a competitor. You make your radio show get better.
That's right. Yeah, send it to the next owner of the next station who's irritating. Send him something. I like gumbo, man. If you make good gumbo, y'all can send me that. I prefer chicken andouille, but I like seafood gumbo too. But anyway, I got to get out of here. I keep getting me talking about food. I think I'm talking to Amelia. Anyway, guys and girls, thanks again, Jay, for hanging out. Everybody, thanks for tuning into the Centralist. I hope you enjoyed the show. Again, if you got anything you want to hear us talk about, or anything you see in the news, or if you any comments you heard about tonight, because we do talk about past shows, comments, like the Rittenhouse case and stuff like that. We'll probably talk a little bit about next week and the week after. because there may be some other developments. Whether people, and I'm going to say this before we go, whether you agree or disagree with the verdict, there's no reason to go burn down a city, okay?
Not one.
If you want to protest, if you feel a need to protest, get out in the street, but do it safely because you see what's been happening with
And do it
BLM
peacefully, not
yeah,
just
with
safely, peacefully.
yeah. So we had BLM and Antifa. They did $2 billion in damage. Went through 400 cities. There was 11 deaths and 14 rapes accounted to them, which none of them were ever prosecuted for. And then, of course, we had the June 6th thing in the Capitol, or January 6th thing in the Capitol, which is just another big thing. We shouldn't have to deal with that as a society, you know. So
Yeah, we're
I'm
all
not saying
grown
you.
up.
I'm not saying you can't protest. You just need to really protest. And I really think wherever you are, wherever government you are, if a protest starts and it's not an escorted protest and a permanent protest, it should be shut down immediately because you need to know who it is that's running these things so we know who to go after later on. But on
Right?
that note, yeah, on that
Especially when
note,
it goes
good.
south.
Oh yeah, especially and you know it's going to head that way. But guys and girls, we got to go. I'm going to go get my cake and pig out and watch some TV and do some archives again. Jay for things, if ain't hanging out. And remember, people write to us. We do a lot of shows. We got science shows coming up. We got some stuff. We got UFO shows. I will answer that question. I probably am not going to be doing much in the way of UFO shows until after the year. I do have two scheduled in December, but I'm in a little hiatus because I'm getting a lot of stuff done and out of the way so I can spend more time with that show. But again, good night and stay tuned. Oh, and you know, as we'll hang out for Spaced Out Radio with Crazy Dave Scott. Mm-hmm. He's another crazy Canuck. Shh, don't tell anybody. We got like 7 Canucks now. Shh. Well, I don't want to get invaded or nothing, you know. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Let's see. Click and click.